The apocalypse descended, reducing humanity to mere pawns of little value. Yet, this young man unexpectedly held a secret that could alter the world's order. He had inadvertently activated a system that transformed his room into an impenetrable fortress. No matter how powerful, even an SSS-rank monster couldn't enter or penetrate his fortified defenses without his permission. It seemed like a stroke of luck, a miracle ensuring his survival in this era. However, this very system, this godforsaken system, isolated him from the crumbling society outside. He couldn't leave his apartment, and his food supplies were dwindling. What's worse, his family was still out there. He was as pure as the driven snow. What was he to do? What could he do? A monster soared menacingly through the air, searching for its next meal. It happened upon Cha-Han, prompting it to bare its sharp fangs in his direction. Instinctively, Cha-Han cowered in self-defense, only further exciting the monster, which lunged towards him at full speed. Cha-Han, believing his end was near, let out a helpless scream. Suddenly, he noticed something strange appear before his eyes. It was an emergency notification from the system. A creature is attempting to enter the premises without authorization. Supreme Resident Declaration, Level 1 Homeowner. No entry permitted without the Supreme Resident's consent. This message brought Cha-Han a wave of relief. At that very moment, the world teetered on the brink of destruction. The largest outbreak in history was detected, affecting 740,000 people between the ages of 20 and 30. War erupted, resulting in heavy casualties for the nation. The economy plummeted, food became scarce, and resentment festered. Ominous signs appeared relentlessly. But it wasn't humanity that ultimately sealed its fate. It was creatures that looked as if they had escaped from some game. Monsters. What followed was predictable, like something out of a novel. Individuals with special abilities, superhumans, began to emerge. However, unlike in fiction, these superhumans weren't strong enough to save humanity from the apocalypse. 3 days later, Cha-Han casually reached into a bag of potato chips. Taking a large bite, he sighed, "Well, the world hasn't ended yet. Because my life isn't any different from normal, except I'm all alone. I'm the only one living in this 100 square meter apartment. My mother, father, grandfather, and grandmother are all outside. My father emptied his pockets to buy this place. He borrowed 200 million won from the bank and put up our family's assets as collateral for another 200 million won. The reason I'm here, even though we're not wealthy, is because we were supposed to receive tax benefits for buying this apartment after someone lived here for 2 years. That's why I'm living here and why I'm stuck here after the apocalypse." His face suddenly fell as he received a notification on his phone, unable to connect to network due to weak signal. "Please try again later." Cha-Han shied in frustration. He then glanced out the window, his gaze falling upon the scene from the beginning. Knowing he was safe, Cha-Han started to let his guard down. That's right. The reason he could survive until now was because of his ultimate resident skill. But when Cha-Han wanted to go outside, he couldn't open the door no matter what he tried, making him yell in frustration. Damn it. Seeing the door was still tightly shut, Cha-Han used all his strength to kick it again in vain. The third day after the apocalypse, thanks to the protection of this damn skill, he was completely trapped inside. Seeing him huddled in the dark corner, the status window kindly reminded him, Ultimate Resident is not allowed to leave the house, pushing him further into despair. Ultimate Resident, my ass. I can't do a damn thing. Cha-Han suddenly froze for a moment as he realized something more important. The immediate problem is food. The refrigerator lost power yesterday. Thanks to the food in there, I've survived until now, but it's almost gone. I only have a few packs of ramen left. Then, a new notification suddenly appeared from the status window. You have hunted a level 23 Leakin. You have received a large amount of experience points. Skill has been leveled up. He then noticed something from below his apartment. Another group of monsters were tearing apart the Leakin that Cha-Han had just defeated. This made him silently realize, because it crashed into my house, I became the one who hunted it. A new notification appeared on the status window. You have received a new skill. Requirements for receiving loot have been met. Loot is being calculated. Cha-Han, still in disbelief, exclaimed, "What now? What the hell? Why are they suddenly acting so strangely?" They roared more and more frantically. A new notification appeared. 2,203,241 won has been deposited into the Ultimate Resident's wallet, making him even more bewildered. But what's this about? At that moment, the ceiling light suddenly turned back on. Cha-Han looked up. Unable to hide his joy, he thought, the power's back on. At the same time, the status window displayed, Ultimate Resident Level 3. No one is allowed to enter the house without the ultimate resident's permission. Dignity Preservation Level 1. To help you preserve your dignity, half of the utilities in the house will be restored. Wallet balance, 203,241. Cha-hun couldn't contain his joy. The utilities in the house will be restored. The first thing he did was run to check the refrigerator. It was working normally again. The water supply was also back. Even the toilet was working without any problems. Cha-hun continued to shout, "It's working. Everything's working just like before the apocalypse." But what about this? His phone was still displaying the notification, unable to connect to the network due to weak signal. Please try again later. This made him feel a little disappointed. Damn it, still not working. After a while of running his hands through his hair, he noticed something. A USB drive appeared right before his eyes. Cha-hun immediately used his computer to check the data inside. It contained pictures of him being held by his mother as a newborn, all the way up to his elementary school days. There was also a picture taken with his mother during middle school, and the most recent photo he took with them was when they celebrated his birthday together as adults. These good memories made Cha-hun fall silent for a moment, overwhelmed with longing. It was in this very moment that he made up his mind. I have to bring my family back here, no matter the cost. Cha-hun quickly stood up, using the phrase as motivation. I have to do it. At the same time, he noticed a new notification from the system. Level 1 shop. You can purchase items in the shop at base price. He was still vaguely asking a shop when a new message appeared. Please create an item list with a balance of 2,203,239 won. Do you want to create your first list? With a level 1 shop, you can purchase the items listed in the shop at base price. Cha-hun stared blankly for a long time, thinking about the shop. Then he decided to click to try it out. The status board immediately displayed more information. Your current wallet balance is 2,203,241. Do you want to list items for the first time? After concentrating and studying it, he silently realized something. Looking at how it's telling me how much money I have, it seems this thing is connected to my ultimate resident wallet. He was using all his strength to push open the large door. When he received the next notification, ultimate resident cannot leave the house. This was not unexpected for Cha-hun. Just as I thought, it's not effective. Even if my skill level increases a bit, I still can't go outside. One thing's for sure, if I hunt monsters, my level will increase, and I'll get new skills. If I level up, there might be a skill that allows me to go outside, but how can I kill monsters in this situation? Expecting what happened last time to happen again might be a bit difficult. Wait a minute, I think I can kill a golem. He then decided to grab a bottle of water from the refrigerator. Standing in front of the window, he put all his strength into his arm, making a quick and decisive long throw. He cheered with joy as he achieved his goal. Great, it worked. I can throw items outside. In that case, I'll try using this. Cha-hun, standing in a ready position, suddenly froze as he noticed something strange. A group of monsters was suddenly appearing on the building. They walked in a line, carefully observing their surroundings. This made Cha-hun shout angrily, "Damn it, don't go." He started using howls and shouts to call out to the monsters. Then he immediately performed a weight throw, praying, "Please don't miss." Unexpectedly, the weight hit one of the monsters. This made Cha-hun's face fall that I'm screwed. This is all that's left. What am I going to do? I don't think there's anything else in the house I can use to kill them. I'm not strong enough to throw the TV or computer. Then his eyes suddenly lit up as he noticed something. The monsters continuously looked towards Cha-hun's apartment and roared, making his face fall as soon as he saw them. Their screams grew louder and louder as they advanced towards the apartment building. In this urgent situation, Cha-hun came up with a good idea. Wait a minute, this? Not bad. At this distance, he finally thought of the best countermeasure. Open the shop. A request immediately appeared on the status board. Please list your item. Cha-hun immediately clicked on list item. When asked, do you want to list this item? He didn't hesitate to confirm. Unexpectedly, the item he was holding displayed its stats. A classic 3 kilograms non-slip dumbbell has been listed. Price, 16,991. My video ends here. The above is a summary of the story. This made Cha-hun feel a little disappointed. The price is the same as when I bought it online. I think the market price here is the same as before the apocalypse. A system notification appeared again. Do you want to buy the item? After he made his selection, a bright spot appeared on the status board. In a flash, the 3 kilograms dumbbell appeared before his eyes, causing Cha-hun to exclaim, "Success. Great. The weight is just right, too." He quickly threw the dumbbell out the window, hitting the head of a monster. The status board displayed continuous notifications. You have hunted a level 7 goblin. You have received experience. 3,334 has been transferred to the ultimate residence wallet. The achievement made Cha-Han exclaim with satisfaction, "Excellent." The monsters, seeing their comrade fall, looked incredibly distressed and glared at him with resentment. Another throw failed to kill the panther-like monster, making Cha-Han start to feel annoyed. Damn it. The status board continued to display notifications. You have purchased 3 sets of classic 3 kilograms non-slip dumbbells. The dumbbells appeared one after another before his eyes. Cha-Han's throws became increasingly decisive, hitting the monsters' heads accurately, causing new messages to flood in. You have hunted a level 6 goblin. 2,512 has been transferred to the ultimate residence wallet. Your skill level has increased. You have received a new skill. This led him to another celebratory exclamation, "Excellent." The level 1 inventory now also became a dimensional space to store items, making Cha-Han look surprised as he saw it. This time, it's an inventory. Open inventory. The dumbbell he was holding quickly caught the system's attention. "Do you want to place the item in the inventory?" He immediately answered, "Yes." The dumbbell was instantly sucked into the inventory. Then a new question appeared. "One dumbbell has been stored. Do you want to summon the item?" His answer remained the same, "Yes." Seeing the dumbbell become much smaller, Cha-Han exclaimed happily, "Nice. I can summon items from the inventory to anywhere I want." Following his words, his apartment suddenly lit up. After the command "Open Inventory," he immediately took a ready stance, closed his eyes, focused all his ability, and gave the command "Summon Dumbbell." Giant dumbbells were launched one after another, falling straight towards the monsters. They screamed miserably before dying as they were hit, causing the status board to constantly update with new information. You have hunted a level 5 goblin. Level 6, level 7. You have received a large amount of experience. 54,660 has been transferred to the Supreme Residence wallet. The next question was immediately raised. Do you want to list more items? This number made Cha-Han cry out in delight. Awesome. After he listed 10 items when opening the shop, the system also updated with new information. 3 kilograms classic non-slip dumbbell, 16,990. 10 ramen noodles, 31,000. 5 kilograms rice, 14,890, and many other products. The balance now is 2,178,806. Cha-Han had sold 10 dumbbells that he used to defeat the goblins, as well as all kinds of daily necessities and food. A piece of information then made his eyes widen in surprise. Supreme Residence wallet balance, 178,805. Cha-Han couldn't help but wonder, what the? I lost one. Isn't that the dignity preservation skill cost? He started calmly checking each number. Electricity, gas, and water bills. What a hassle. Damn those goblins. After I took them down by dropping dumbbells on them, they ran away and abandoned their headquarters. Since then, I've only killed 2 more. Damn it. Are there any other creatures I can hunt? He observed the mess below the building while sighing in disappointment. There's not even a single one. I have to find another way. After thinking for a long time, Cha-Han suddenly had a bright idea. I wonder if I'll be lucky enough to encounter another stupid Leakin flying by. His eyes suddenly lit up when he saw a monster appearing from above the building. After patiently observing it for a long time, Cha-Han exclaimed in surprise, "A Leakin. Yes, heaven helps those who help themselves." He quickly tied a railing net tightly, then tried to adjust the direction to his liking, and waited patiently until the Leakin flew by, then intentionally threw the net hard. The Leakin, at this point, had also detected something was wrong. It seemed to be attracted by the bait Cha-Han had created and rushed towards him at maximum speed. Finally, Cha-Han rejoiced at his achievement and exclaimed, "Success." But the Leakin still wouldn't give up and stubbornly attacked him. Despite this, he remained calm, believing that at this speed, he would definitely be able to take it down. "I'll definitely level up if I kill that thing." Cha-Han was still a little scared and continued to face the Leakin. He tried to keep his balance so he wouldn't be knocked down, but it seemed like the force was incredibly fierce and something was different, making him stare blankly for a long time. What is that? No way. The Leakin was still safe in the air, making Cha-Han's face suddenly darken. It suddenly bit its long snout with a very strange look. But the system quickly responded. An entity is attempting to enter without permission, and subsequent notifications kept appearing. But in his heart, Cha-Han was still secretly harboring hope. It won't actually break through, right? I have to do something. In the end, what he chose was in the shop. Looking at the stats displayed on the status board, Cha-Han began to ponder. From what he'd observed so far, loot calculation only occurred if the corpse was nearby. He wasn't always successful in hunting goblins. Some surviving goblins carried away the bodies of their comrades, and those bodies weren't counted as loot. In other words, if the distance exceeded a certain limit, the loot calculation wouldn't happen. He couldn't let that continue. Was there another way? The information about canola oil at 12,330 immediately caught his attention, prompting him to quickly order 10 bottles. After receiving the question, "Do you want to purchase this item?" Cha-Han declared resolutely yes. The bottles of canola oil instantly appeared before his eyes, making him joyfully hug them, then start preparing a large pot. He poured all the newly purchased oil bottles into it one by one, and finally calmly turned on the stove. He also carefully prepared a stick wrapped in a white cloth so he could stir the pot, then suddenly gave the command to open the shop. The familiar question appeared again. "Do you want to list this item?" He immediately replied, yes. Cha-Han then proactively poured the entire pot of boiling oil into the status board. A new notification was displayed. Boiling canola oil has been listed. He quickly found a fire starter, intending to ignite the oil-soaked cloth. A fierce flame erupted immediately afterward. With the flaming cloth in hand, Cha-Han proceeded towards the railing, carefully observing the monster's every move, then suddenly commanded, "Summon canola oil." The status board acknowledged the command and began to douse the monster with oil. The liquid irritated the creature, causing it to thrash about. Cha-Han raised the burning cloth high and yelled "Die," then hurled it towards the monster. Flames engulfed the monster's body, causing Cha-Han to exclaim with satisfaction, "Success." The monster, now exhausted, slowly collapsed to the ground. Cha-Han patiently watched its agonizing death. As it hit the ground, the monster managed one last roar. The roar gradually weakened and then vanished. The system then updated with a new notification. "You have successfully defeated a level 27 Leakin. You have received a new skill. Loot acquisition requirements met. Calculating loot. Loot calculation complete. 9,347,487 transferred to Supreme Resident Wallet." But the number surprised Cha-Han, 0.9 million. Shouldn't it be 10 million? A new notification appeared on the status board. Requirements met. Housing territory expansion initiated, causing Cha-Han to rush outside in a panic to check what's going on. His eyes lost all emotion. His body began to undergo strange changes. Cha-Han immediately crumpled to the ground, overwhelmed by pain. Lost in a daze, he stared into the distance. And could even see through into an apartment. It said 4 people were happily chatting inside. This surprised Cha-Han, who exclaimed, "There are people. Are those the neighbors in the next apartment?" Cha-Han slumped to the ground, clutching his head in utter confusion. What's going on? He could clearly see the worry on his neighbors' faces. Cha-Han's eyes widened in pain. A black aura escaped from the room. Cha-Han was still in shock. Just now, information on each member of the neighboring family was updated. The father, Hun-chun, 30 years old. His wife, Hyun, 30 years old. And their first child, Nazon, 6 years old. And their second child, Season, 3 years old. The system interface asked, "You have detected entities that meet the conditions to become residents. Do you wish to grant them resident status?" Cha-Han quickly turned his face back to the room. He wondered, what will happen if I don't grant them resident status? A few seconds later, the system responded, "Entities not granted resident status will be expelled from the building." My video ends here. The above is a summary of the story. Are you sure you don't want to grant resident status? Cha-Han seriously considered this. If he didn't grant them resident status, they would all be threatened by monsters. After a moment of deliberation, Cha-Han made his decision: grant resident status to all 4 of them. The system immediately confirmed Hun, Chun, Hyun, Nazon, and Season will be granted resident status. Cha-Han started to feel intrigued. Good. Maybe I've unlocked more skills related to resident status. Let's check it out. Supreme Vision skill. Nothing in the building can escape your sight. Cha-Han wondered, do I have anything related to residents? Homeowner's resident declaration. No one can enter the building without the owner's permission. After a bit of searching, Cha-Han finally found it. There it is. The reliability of each resident has been calculated. However, what surprised him more was the number 600. Isn't that too many? Cha Hun clicked on Hun Chun's detailed information to take a look. Awakened skills, none. Experience and money sharing rate, none. He stood in deep thought. Experience and money sharing rate. I think it refers to the experience and money they'll share with me. I can even adjust the desired percentage. Could this be the way for me to become stronger? Cha Hun was still hesitant. Can I assign him tasks? The system displayed a template for task assignment. He was surprised that I can fill in the task details. The system suggested a task, Hunt a Goblin. Time limit, 168 hours. Reward, a small amount of experience. No penalty for failure. You want to assign this task? Cha Hun hesitated again. There will be a basic reward, but what can I do about the penalty for failure? Edit penalty for failure. Depart from this world. After Cha Hun's request, the system modified the penalty for failure. Do you want to assign this task? Cha Hun unexpectedly shook his head and refused. No. The system confirmed, you have canceled the task request. He sat down on the floor, lost in thought. If I want, I can eliminate my residence at any time. This is my power. Cha Hun wondered to himself, what should I do now? I should try using Supreme Vision. The whole room suddenly darkened, and a black aura spread out. I can see everything. Inside the living room, Hyun, the wife, anxiously asked, Honey, what should we do now? Hun Chun could only hold his head in his hands. Defeated, what else can we do? I have to go out and get water at least once. I want you to stay here with the kids and wait for me. Hyun desperately tried to dissuade him. You can't do that. It's too dangerous. He replied sadly, I know, but we have no other choice. Hyun asked, trembling, is there anywhere else that might have water? Hun Chun tried to stay calm and reassure his wife that I want to try the convenience store nearby. It's a pretty big one. There's bound to be something there. Season couldn't help but cry out, Mommy, I'm thirsty. Hearing those words, Hun Chun and Hyun felt even more heartbroken. He turned to his wife and asked, You trust me, right? I'll definitely bring something back. Wait for me, okay. At this point, Hyun could only purse her lips and resign herself to fate. After learning the truth, Cha Hun immediately deactivated Supreme Vision. The situation is much worse than I thought. Open shop. A list of items appeared. It would be much better if I had more storage capacity. Open skill window, he commanded. The system displayed. Level 1 shop. You can purchase the listed items at the original price. Level 1 inventory. An alternate dimension where you can store items. Reading this, Cha Hun became much more cheerful. Great. The system asked, do you want to upgrade the Supreme Residence Shop skill? He immediately replied, yes. Everything around him started to shift. Supreme Residence Shop is now level 2. The number of items that can be listed has increased to 20. A 10% discount has been applied to all items. Cha Hun exclaimed in admiration, excellent. I have 2 points left. I should invest more in the shop and dignity preservation. From now on, I might encounter more residents. The system displayed an update. Supreme Residence Shop has increased to level 3. The number of items that can be listed has increased to 40. You now have the item restoration function. Cha Hun sat and calculated. A function that can restore old items and turn them into new ones. Amazing. Upgrading the shop to level 3 was definitely worth it. He excitedly requested, open shop. Level 3 shop appeared. You can purchase items in the shop at the original price. Cha Hun immediately chose to buy Samda water and Chechu tangerines. I need to upgrade my other skills too. The system asked, do you want to upgrade the Supreme Residence Dignity Preservation skill? Cha Hun confirmed, yes. If I provide electricity and water to the neighbors, I can ask for a lot in return. The system announced, Supreme Residence Dignity Preservation skill is now at level 2. You can register dependents. Cha Hun sat dumbfounded, wondering where dependents. At Hun Chun's house, he had prepared everything to set off. The mother hugged her 2 children and called out to her husband. Before leaving, Hun Chun didn't forget to smile and promise, I'll be back. Try to protect the house while I'm gone, okay? Nazon still couldn't believe her dad was actually going outside. Hun Chun patted her head and said, I'm going to get food and water. Be good and listen to your mom while I'm gone, okay? Nazon sobbed, but suddenly she screamed, there are monsters outside. A few days earlier, Nazon and Season were playing in the park. Suddenly, a group of bright green monsters appeared out of nowhere. Both girls were terrified by their ferocious appearance. Nazon quickly grabbed Season's hand and ran. Luckily, Hun Shun and Hyun arrived just in time and scooped up the children. Then, they all ran for their lives, trying to escape the pursuing monsters. Remembering that scene, Hun Shun squeezed his eyes shut. The two children burst into tears. Hyun sat beside them, comforting them. "Don't cry, my loves. It'll be okay." Hun Shun thought to himself, "This might be the last time I see them." He pressed his lips together to hold back his emotions. Suddenly, the doorknob rattled. Hun Shun quickly grabbed his golf club. He stood listening for any movement outside, but everything went silent. A moment later, a voice called from outside. "Excuse me, could you open the door?" Hun Shun was sweating bullets. He was suspicious. Asterisk, is that a person? Or could it be a monster? Asterisk, it was too risky. But the voice outside continued to ask, "Is anyone there?" No one inside dared to make a sound. The knocking grew more urgent. Then, just as quickly, the knocking faded away. As silence fell, Hun Chun muttered, "He's gone." He slowly approached the door. Suddenly, the door swung open, and a blinding light poured in. The light startled Hun Chun. The family huddled together and cried out in fear. "No. Honey, Dad," Hun Chun pleaded, "don't hurt my wife and children." A gentle voice replied, "Hello, excuse me." Hun Chun glanced over. It wasn't a monster, but Cha Hun. Hun Chun stammered, "Who are you?" The man smiled and introduced himself. "I'm Cha Hun. I live next door." Hun Chun looked questioningly at the black bag in Cha Hun's hand. "What's that?" he asked. Cha Hun cheerfully replied, "I brought some water and tangerines. Maybe we can talk after you've had something to eat and drink." Hun Chun was stunned. Hyun and the children also seemed less afraid. Cha Hun quickly bowed his head in thanks. Asterisk water and food. "I can't refuse. This person might be able to help my family." Asterisk Hun Chun politely said, "Please come in." Nazon and Season's faces darkened at the sight of the stranger. Cha Hun forced a smile. "Did I shock them too much?" Asterisk, but the blackout curtains are a smart move. They really do reduce the chance of a monster attack. Asterisk. Cha Hun looked up at the ceiling. "First, let's get some light in here." His eyes flashed blue, and he silently commanded, "Light up." In a blink of an eye, all the lights in the room turned on. Hun Chun was incredibly surprised. The lights were back on. Cha Hun took out a bottle of water and said, "First, please let the children have some water." Nazon politely replied, "Yes, thank you." So, Cha Hun took out another bottle of water for Season. Because they were so thirsty, the two children drank nonstop. Suddenly, Season started coughing and choking, making her mother worry. "Season, are you okay?" Cha Hun sat stunned, looking at the child. He took out a tangerine and asked Season, "Do you like tangerines?" "Here," he said as he placed the tangerine in the little girl's hand. Hyun gently said to her daughter, "Wait, let me peel it for you, Season." In the blink of an eye, the mother peeled a segment of the tangerine. She even thoughtfully fed it to Season. Having just finished eating, the little girl's mind seemed to be stimulated by something. Season covered her face with her hands and smiled happily. Hyun also laughed and asked, "Delicious?" The little girl quickly replied, "Yes." Nazon, standing next to her, couldn't contain her craving and asked, "Mom, me too." After eating, the little girl also felt much more cheerful. The system popped up, confirming all members as residents. Everyone's trust level has increased. Loyalty has been unlocked. Resident Season has exceeded the loyalty level. Season has met the requirements to be registered as a dependent. All of Season's information and skills are 0. Cha Hun sat down, carefully reading each system notification. She has met the requirements to be registered as a dependent. "But she's too young," he said, hanging his head in contemplation. "Unlike residents, I can only register 10 dependents. I need them to at least reach Hun Chun's level to be able to execute commands. But his trust level is only 31. I need to make him trust me more." Hun Chun cleared his throat and spoke, startling Cha Hun slightly. He looked at Cha Hun and expressed his feelings. "Thank you. I don't know how to repay your kindness." Cha Hun seriously replied, "If so, let's go out to the hallway and talk." Hun Chun was a little surprised, but agreed to follow. Outside, the hallway was quiet. Cha Hun and Hun Chun stood facing each other awkwardly. After a moment, Cha Hun spoke up, "Have you received resident status yet?" Hearing this, Hun Chun was a little surprised. "This notification window, my whole family received it 30 minutes ago." Cha Hun curiously asked, "Did anything special happen?" Hun Chun honestly recounted, "Yes, we couldn't move our bodies for a while." Cha Hun stood dumbfounded, speculating, "They'll be temporarily frozen until they receive a command." "Resident status?" he asked Hun Chun, then said with a confident tone, "I will help you return to your previous life." Hun Chun's face became alarmed. "What? Cha-hun extended his hand and said, I can guarantee that monsters will not enter your house. Hun-chun still couldn't believe it was true that that possible. Cha-hun firmly confirmed, yes, completely possible. Hun-chun closed his eyes as if contemplating something. After a moment, he asked, I know it won't be free. What do I need to do? Before answering, Cha-hun warned him, you could lose your life doing this. Do you still want to try? He was again faced with this difficult choice. Finally, Hun-chun confidently made his decision. Yes, I'll definitely do it. Even without you, I was already planning to go out and search for food and water. I was already risking my life then. Cha-hun nodded, pleased with his choice. Cha-hun suddenly changed the subject, but I just saw a golf club. How much does it cost? Hun-chun became flustered. Sorry, I think around 400,000 or 500. 0.0001. Cha-hun stood lost in thought. Too expensive to list in the shop. I need to save for the future. Hun-chun asked in bewilderment. Why did you suddenly ask me that? Cha-hun waved his hand dismissively, embarrassed. Nothing. Forget about it. Do you remember the day the monsters appeared? Hun-chun replied with a worried expression, yes, it was a weekend. The image of the lurid green Golan monsters lingered in his mind. Truly terrifying. Cha-hun voiced his theory. Right? I think only the people who were at home that day survived. One Golan doesn't have much power. Their level is lower than a grown man's. Their real weapon is that they always move in groups. But that's the same for humans. We need to build our own army first. After a long moment of contemplation, Cha-hun called out to Hun-chun. From now on, I want you to search for other survivors with me. The afternoon shadows quickly lengthened. The system announced that Hun-chun's resident trust score had increased. Cha-hun sprawled on a chair, scrolling through the notification. As he read the trust levels of the residents under his control, he suddenly felt a pang of sadness. If I keep adding more people, will I be able to see my family again? Suddenly, the roar of a monster outside startled him, making him jump up. Cha-hun opened the balcony door and looked down to see what was happening. He was immediately met with an unbelievable sight. A group of people were surrounded by ferocious monsters. Cha-hun saw they were in danger, but it would be difficult to help them. The goblins roared furiously and leaped to attack. One of the men in the group showed no fear. He threw a punch that shattered the monster's front line. The force was so tremendous that it sent the monster flying. Cha-hun was utterly shocked as he witnessed this combat firsthand. Similar to the man, another person, a woman, used a crossbow to fire sharp arrows. With just one shot, she took down two monsters. The largest and most muscular man in the group was even stronger. He jumped 2 meters into the air, wielding a baseball bat. One swing sent the entire goblin family sprawling. Terrified, the remaining goblins turned tail and fled. The group of people were like a superhero team protecting the innocent. The woman in the group suddenly noticed something fly past her. She quickly drew her crossbow and aimed at it. It turned out to be a bag of food. Looking in the direction the bag had fallen, she quickly located Cha-hun's apartment. Cha-hun, from above, frantically waved his arms to attract their attention. The people below didn't understand what he was doing. Doesn't it look like a coconut worm wriggling? Just then, the doorbell rang, attracting Cha-hun's attention. It was Hun-chun, arriving with a large cardboard box. Cha-hun immediately opened the door and invited him in. Hun-chun followed. But as he reached the doorway, he was stopped by a screen from the system. A notification window appeared, surprising both of them. Insufficient requirements. You are not allowed to enter. Hun-chun, a little confused, asked what the notification meant. Cha-hun's brain couldn't process it immediately either. Did this mean no one was allowed in? Perhaps only those registered as dependents could enter. For the time being, Hun-chun couldn't get through the door, so he handed the cardboard box to Cha-hun. Inside were all the things that could be used as weapons that he had gathered. Cha-hun tore off the sealing tape to open the box. Inside were some kitchen utensils that could be used for self-defense. He then activated the store and retrieved 5 bottles of water and 5 packets of ramen. The goods were instantly delivered to the apartment. Cha-hun put these necessities into the box and asked Hun-chun to take it to the entrance on the first floor. Hun-chun was worried about the potential danger of going down to the first floor. Cha-hun reassured him, "It's okay. According to my observations, the goblins are only active during the day." He was also thinking about the group of people with special abilities he had just met, telling himself that he must lure them to his team. They would have no choice but to come to him when they realized he had food. Cha-hun said, "I already have a plan, so please take these there for me." Hun-chun hesitantly asked again, I really just need to leave them on the first floor and come back up. Cha-hun confirmed firmly, and Hun-chun accepted the task. He bowed before leaving. Cha-hun was a little surprised by this politeness and didn't forget to thank him. After returning to his room, he thought he should do something for a good person like Hun-chun. He opened the quest window. Cha-hun entered the delivery quest for his neighbor as he had instructed earlier, along with some experience points as a reward. If the quest is completed, a reward will be given. This is similar to leveling up in a game. Cha-hun also revealed that his neighbor was at level 9. When you level up, the rewards are better. I'm counting on you. Hun-chun happily accepted. Ahead was the emergency exit stairwell sign. Hun-chun carried a golf club as a weapon for self-defense. He cautiously descended the stairs from the 20th floor to the 1st. Hun-chun carefully carried the cardboard box down to the building's entrance. Now he just needed to put the box here and he could return. However, when he looked up, there were scattered dark figures in the twilight in front of the apartment building. Terrible memories of the monsters immediately flooded back. Hun-chun fearfully backed away, intending to run immediately. However, his nervousness caused him to trip. He fell flat on the floor, the box dropped, and the supplies scattered. Hun-chun trembled all over, shivering with fear. He desperately wanted to stand up and run, but his body was stiff as a board. Meanwhile, the sound, like footsteps, grew closer and closer. Hun-chun, fearing it was the monsters, cried out in terror. But the response was clearly human voices. Hun-chun regained his composure enough to see more clearly. Before him, instead of monsters, stood a group of people, both men and women, surrounding him, asking about his situation. Suddenly, the system displayed a notification that an entity was attempting unauthorized access. Cha-hun noticed the message on the screen. A possibility suddenly occurred to him. Cha-hun used his ultimate vision skill to see which entity was trying to enter the apartment. His vision penetrated layers of walls and focused on the group of people with special abilities from earlier. They had followed Hun-chun's directions to get here. On the way, they chattered amongst themselves. Is this the apartment building where someone threw down the ramen packet? So that means there's food here. Just think, we're running low. Cha-hun was delighted to realize his plan to attract talent had worked. The system notified him that people meeting the requirements to become residents were approaching. Do you want to offer them residency? Cha-hun carefully considered this immigration proposal. During territory expansion, he could forcibly grant citizenship to those inside, but could outsiders have a choice? If so, it meant they could refuse his offer. He worried about this worst-case scenario, racking his brain for a solution. Just then, a ringing sound interrupted his thoughts. Someone was ringing his doorbell. Cha-hun scratched his head, a little anxious. After a moment, he mustered the courage to go and see. On the screen was Hun-chun's image. He anxiously asked, "Hello, are you there, Cha-hun?" Cha-hun pressed the answer button and told him to wait a moment. The notification panel updated. Hun-chun is on a quest. Do you want to edit the quest? Cha-hun immediately pressed agree. After a moment of thought, he came up with a good idea. He changed Hun-chun's quest to inviting the 6 new guests for a meal. The system updated the new quest, and Hun-chun immediately received the notification. Cha-hun told him, "Tell them you'll feed them first." "I have a plan." Hun-chun agreed and turned back towards a group of young people. He relayed the offer of a meal. The group tentatively agreed, and Hun-chun reported this back to Cha-hun. Only then did Cha-hun send the residency offered all 6 of them. The new command was sent successfully. He anxiously awaited a response. The group quickly received the notification. Figuring food was the best motivator, the whole group agreed. Along with the increased number of residents, Cha-hun was rewarded with experience and system gold. This was a real windfall. Thinking about receiving such a good reinforcement for his monster hunting efforts, he happily accepted. The resident data panel for all residents was updated. The highest ranked among them was Hak Jong-gun, ranked 23, as strong as the flying monster Cha-hun had defeated earlier. Cha-hun clicked on this person's name to learn more about his abilities. As expected, he was awakened with the ability to throw baseballs, capable of tripling the power of his pitches by expending stamina. In reality, depending on the pitcher, a baseball could also become a weapon. And if the skill tripled its power, it would be the perfect skill for monster extermination. Regarding his trustworthiness, Cha-hun could gradually increase it. He temporarily set the experience distribution rate for all 6 of them to 70%. Setup complete, Cha-hun took another step in expanding his forces. Next, he just needed to assign them monster hunting quests, then sit back and collect both experience and money, as if he were playing a video game on autopilot. Of course, when he had the chance, he still needed to learn more about them, because they could be the key to Cha-Han reuniting with his family. The system suddenly notified him that a resident's trust level had increased. Cha-Han froze in surprise. One after another, the other residents in the young group also increased their trust levels, leaving Cha-Han somewhat bewildered. A little while later, Hun-chun invited the group of young people to his apartment. His wife, seeing strangers arrive, couldn't help but worry, asking her husband what was going on. Hun-chun told her he would explain later and asked her to prepare some food first. Although it meant his wife would have to start cooking all over again, Hun-chun thought Cha-Han had a plan, so he wholeheartedly supported him. His wife, initially hesitant, then agreed to do as he asked. She invited the group to wait for a while as she prepared the meal. A young man in the group curiously asked Hun-chun, "What kind of person is this Cha-Han?" Hun-chun scratched his head, saying he wasn't sure. He didn't know anything more than the fact that Cha-Han was his neighbor. Considering the facts he knew, Hun-chun added, "He's a pretty interesting guy. All of this is thanks to his help." Suspecting that Cha-Han might also be an awakened, he thought he must have some amazing ability to be able to do all this. He unzipped his jacket pocket, revealing a packet of ramen. He told himself he had to impress this host by any means necessary, because currently, only Cha-Han was powerful enough to provide electricity, food, and water. In the current world, that was a miraculous ability, truly on a different level. It would take a while to prepare the food, so Hun-chun asked the group if they wanted to take a shower first. Upon hearing they could take a shower, the two girls in the group's eyes lit up like car headlights. Even more culture shocked, they realized that if there was electricity, most utilities could be used, which also meant they could take a hot shower. Hun-chun explained that this was part of Cha-Han's ability, the kind of skill that could make the ladies swoon. Hun-chun explained that his apartment had one bathroom in the living room and one in the master bedroom, so the two girls could shower at the same time. This convenience was truly exceptional. The guy wearing glasses said, "Do you think that man is also an awakened?" He silently agreed. And not only that, this person's abilities far surpassed his own. While others were worrying about how to win him over, the loudmouth made an incomprehensible statement, demanding to punch the host in the face with one blow. He immediately scolded him, leaving him speechless. Frozen for a few seconds, he could only pray that his friend would shut up. He sighed. The group's goal was to get as much food as possible. He told his friends to observe the situation carefully and not mess things up. They nodded in agreement, concurring with the plan. There was only one other young man in the group who seemed shy and timid. He approached him to reassure him. He placed a hand on the young man's shoulder. The young man flinched and became flustered, apologizing. "Sorry, I didn't hear what you said just now." He lowered his head and apologized, which surprised him, and "Oh, you didn't do anything wrong." The young man still insisted on blaming himself. "And oh, it really is my fault. If I hadn't invited everyone to my housewarming party." He looked away slightly. "It's okay. I came because I wanted to." He said, "Let's get some food here and go to your grandmother's house." The young man agreed, then lowered his head sadly. He didn't dare say it out loud, but in his heart, he knew it was too late. An elderly person living alone, surrounded by ferocious monsters, had almost no chance of survival. He still tried to comfort his friend that she's close by. "We'll get there if we stick together. Just hold on a little longer." Flustered, he was about to say something when the sudden sound of a door opening made the group's heart stop. They all turned their eyes towards the source of the sound. The door cracked open, and something stood behind it. He gripped his baseball bat tightly, ready to defend himself at any moment. Fortunately, it was Hun-chun, not a monster. The group of young friends sensed something in this moment of encounter. Hun-chun carried a bag of groceries and declared firmly, "I'll help all of you." His tense hand relaxed slightly. They all seemed to realize that Hun-chun could save them, pull them out of this pit of despair. 7 people crowded around a single table. Hun-chun apologized sheepishly. "Sorry, it's a bit cramped." Everyone gave him a strange smile. Someone spoke up. "Oh, it's okay," were the ones imposing. Just then, Hun-chun's wife came out carrying a tray of food, breaking the awkward silence. All right, the food is here." The sight of the food before them surprised everyone. Hun-chun's wife scratched her head and said bashfully, "I hope it's to everyone's liking." Although the food consisted of simple dishes like fried eggs and stir-fried vegetables, each dish was beautifully presented and appealing. She picked up a piece of rolled egg and put it in her mouth. The wonderful taste made her exclaim, "Delicious." She turned to Hun Chun's wife, showering her with praise, "But it's really good. This is a real feast." Hun Chun's wife was embarrassed to take all the credit, but it's thanks to the ingredients Cha Hun provided. "I almost only had rice and tangerines to offer you." Thanks to the meal, her trustworthiness also reached 50. Level 5. Cha Hun hadn't expected her to reach 50 before him. Everyone began to eat, their faces filled with excitement. There was nothing like enjoying a good meal. Every bite is just amazing. I can't resist. This rolled omelet is so good. Look at them. They're eating like they're starving. They're just shoveling it in. Suddenly, one of them turns and asks, "This is the sweet kind of rolled omelet, right? Like the kind you get at Japanese restaurants?" Hun Chun's wife nods. "Yes, that's right. Please, everyone, eat your fill." Just then, Seo John, Hun Chun's daughter, comes up and calls Mommy. Hun Chun's wife turns to her daughter, and Seo John whispers, "I want some rolled omelet too." Hun Chun's wife strokes her daughter's head and comforts her. "I'll make some for you after the guests are finished, okay?" Seo John looks heartbroken, tears welling up in her innocent eyes. Suddenly, one of the guests reaches out and cheerfully calls to the little girl, "Seo John, come eat with me." Seo John's face lights up at the invitation. Seo John quickly runs over and climbs onto the guest's lap. The guest picks up her chopsticks and gives Seo John a piece of the coveted rolled omelet. Seo John savors the delicious food, her face beaming with joy, causing everyone at the table to laugh. Hun Chun speaks up, "Everyone, come over here and eat. There's still plenty of food left." The young couple exchange glances and then readily agree. "Okay, let's all eat together." Hun Chun looks around at everyone laughing and chatting. He feels an unusual sense of joy, a feeling of warmth and camaraderie he hasn't felt in a long time. It's like when he received a letter from his mother. Hun Chun silently prays for everyone's safety. The meal ends with every plate clean. Full and sleepy, Seo John whines, "Mommy, I'm sleepy." Hun Chun's wife picks up her daughter and, taking the other child by the hand, leads them to the bedroom. "You two can sleep with me." Hun Chun looks seriously at the others. He gets down to business to SO. "Let's continue our conversation from earlier. Why can't you go to your grandmother's house, even though she lives so close?" The young man stammers, "Because of the goblins." Hun Chun is surprised. "Goblins?" "Yes." The young man explains further, "Akati seems the apartment building's parking garage is an ideal hiding place for them, so the goblins have taken it over." Hun Chun, quite surprised, asks for clarification, "The parking garage?" The young man nods. There seem to be thousands of them gathered there. Hun Chun falls silent, thinking, the resident's absolute ability only works up to the 30th floor, so the goblins can infiltrate the building through the basement. The young man continues, "All the building exits connect to the parking garage, so we can't go outside." Hun Chun says, "That's quite a problem, but there's still the secret passage, right?" The young man delivers even more shocking news. "Our initial plan was to escape through that passage, but there's something there that looks even more dangerous than goblins." Hun Chun is stunned, beads of sweat forming on his forehead. "More dangerous." The young man explains, "According to what we saw, the creature looked like a wolf or a bear. That monster was fighting the goblins. We barely managed to escape." Hun Chun falls silent for a moment, thinking, a wolf or a bear. The young man confirms fearfully, "We're not sure. It was too dark." Out of options, Hun Chun offers the last resort. So. The only option left is a direct attack. "We know that, but we've reached our limit." Hun Chun looks confused. "Your limit? What do you mean?" One of the girls answers for the young man, "Our weapons are just bows and arrows and baseball bats, and those are running out." Hun Chun waves his hand dismissively, "Don't worry about that. Let me take care of it. Can I see the bow and arrow and the baseball bat?" The young man pulls out his bow and arrow and baseball bat and hands them to Hun Chun. Cha Hun opened the item registration system, starting with the ball. Next was the best quality bow and arrow set, but the price was no less than 1 million. Cha Hun didn't hesitate to register it immediately. Everyone stared at Cha Hun's actions, speechless. Cha Hun splurged and bought 5 bow and arrow sets along with 5 sets of arrows. This was a real jackpot. Thinking about receiving such a good boost while hunting monsters, he happily accepted it. In the blink of an eye, they were all placed on the table. He also instructed everyone, saying that those who didn't know how to shoot should take this opportunity to practice, since they would have to use them later. The system quickly announced that the trust level of the group had increased significantly, making Cha Hun unable to believe his eyes. Dong Ho looked at the weapons on the table, a small smile playing on her lips. If everyone could use these weapons, they would be better protected. Not only that, but the other 5 were extremely excited, chattering amongst themselves. Their hunting speed would definitely increase many times over, and with this quantity, they wouldn't need to bother retrieving the arrows. We have plenty of weapons, but we still need to deal with the goblins, Cha Han reminded them. Zone Gun agreed that that's right. So when are we taking action? Tomorrow. Cha Han's reply made Zone Gun freeze. Tomorrow. Cha Han nodded firmly and replied, yes, the sooner the better. Zone Gun, bewildered, wanted to object, that's true, but Cha Han interrupted, tomorrow, I will definitely rescue Dong Ho's grandmother first. Dong Ho was overjoyed upon hearing this, while Zone Gun couldn't believe Cha Han's words. How is that possible? Cha Han smirked, the smile of someone confident of victory. It is, if we use a bait tactic. Silence fell over the table. Although everyone was still not entirely convinced, they all thought positively. Maybe it will work, as long as everything goes smoothly. Suddenly, a system notification surprised Cha Han. Hun Chun has completed the task. 30,001 has been used. Oh, it costs money. So, as long as I have money, I can level up citizens. Cha Han immediately realized, unless it's absolutely necessary, I don't need to use it for now. At the same time, Hun Chun also met the requirements to register as a subordinate, and Cha Han immediately agreed. Hun Chun, who was sitting quietly, suddenly felt something unusual happening around him. Just now, it seemed like something flashed. The system promptly informed him that he had been appointed as the first subordinate and had received the subordinate summoning skill. The awakened skill was Gorilla Strength, and in addition, the experience and rewards from monsters slain by the subordinate would be doubled. On Cha Han's side, he saw a strange plus sign on the screen and clicked it. The system popped up a message. Do you want to use 1,000,001 to level up your subordinate? Seeing the exorbitant amount, Cha Han was stunned. His body began to tremble, and even Huan, who had just stepped out, noticed his despondent mood. What's wrong? Oh, it's nothing. Hun Chun used the system to talk to Cha Han that I feel full of power right now. Is this also because of you? Cha Han admitted, yes, it is. Hun Chun felt 10 years younger. This was exactly what Cha Han had hoped for, and he smiled. He handed a bow directly to Hun Chun and suggested, join the operation this time as well. This shocked Hun Chun to his core. Hun Chun held the bow, his hands trembling, but the subordinate effect doubled his stats, meaning double experience upon mission completion. Cha Han reiterated the importance of eliminating as many enemies as possible, and a helpless Hun Chun agreed. All right. Cha Han smiled with satisfaction. Good, I trust you. The next morning, as planned, they set off together, starting on the first floor. Jiaxu looked around for a moment, then asked, Zonggu, do we really need to check the first floor? I saw the broken windows earlier. It doesn't look good at all. Zonggu frowned and replied, we still have to check. You heard Cha Han. We're here as a rescue team. Their first mission from Cha Han was to bring all survivors in the apartment building to the 30th floor. Zonggu explained the plan. The key is to lure a large number of goblins into the building and eliminate them all at once. So we need to gather as many survivors as possible. Everyone understand. Everyone nodded in agreement. Okay, then let's start with apartment 101. We don't know when the goblins will appear, so everyone stay focused. 101 and 102 were both marked with red blood. They entered together. The sight before them left everyone stunned. The horrific scene made the 2 girls in the group tremble. Bodies lay scattered everywhere, blood staining the floor red. Zonggu couldn't bear to see it any longer and, gritting his teeth, turned away to let's go. Jiaxu's group wasn't faring any better and returned outside. Back in the hallway, Zonggu held his face in disappointment. The first floor is hopeless, but we can't give up. Let's hurry to the second floor. This floor was even more horrifying. As soon as the elevator doors opened, they saw bodies strewn across the hallway. The rescue team froze for a few seconds, knowing they couldn't help anyone here. Zonggu led them straight to the 3rd floor. This floor was better, looking cleaner. They were forced to knock on every door that is anyone there. Everyone shouted as loud as they could, hoping to find someone alive. In the end, there was no one. Disappointed, they returned to report to Zonggu, who anxiously continued upstairs. Zonggu continued, banging loudly on a door. Is anyone there? We're here to rescue you. This time, the door slowly creaked open in response. A man poked his head out, his face haggard, and weakly asked, are you really a rescue team? Seeing someone, Zonggu's face brightened considerably. Yes, we are. The man asked with difficulty, then can I have some water? My throat is parched. Zongu immediately opened his backpack and took out a water bottle. He handed it to the man. Here you go. The man took the bottle and asked again, are you really giving this to me? Are you really a rescue team? Zongu explained, actually, we're residents of this building, but we're here to help. There's a safer place than here. Come with us. The man's eyes lit up. He closed the door, leaving the rescue team outside. A moment later, he returned, this time opening the door wide to welcome them in. Inside were two other people, a man and a woman. At this point, he explained, I was too suspicious. I am Zong-Su. It's a pleasure to meet you. Knowing they trusted him, Zongu cheerfully greeted him. I'm Zongu. It's a pleasure to meet you too. Then he turned to the two girls, Gazon and Hezin. Please take him to the 30th floor and come back down. The two acknowledged the order. Zong-Su reacted strongly. What? The 30th floor? Shouldn't we be going outside through the first floor? Unlike the older man, the young man was much calmer. Finally, we're going to live. Dad, I told you. The helicopter must be arriving now. Gazon quickly explained, that's not it, but when you get up there, you can have a hot meal and take a shower. Hearing that, the daughter jumped for joy to shower. Really? Gazon smiled and replied, really? And it's a hot shower too. The girl immediately ran outside, calling back, Dad, what are you waiting for? Let's go. Seeing his children like that, the father gave in. All right, you kids. The number of citizens continued to increase, and the experience and bonus rewards reached 90%. Chahan pondered, so we have 40 people now. For now, let the children and elderly stay at Han Chun's place. Let the young and strong stay out in the hallway. Zonggun ran over to report a total of 40 people. So that's it, Cha Hun said, slightly disappointed that I asked that all. Zonggun nodded. Yes, I've checked up to the 29th floor. It seems like quite a few people weren't in their apartments from the beginning. Seeing that, Cha Hun didn't ask any further questions that you've worked hard. Hun Chun's place is nearby, so this should be enough. Cha Hun used the eyes of the absolute being. Those eyes could survey any place. Dong Ho was still moving furniture. Hun Chun and Gua slowly released the rope, while Gazon and Hezin pulled the rope to its designated spot. Zonggun and Jacques Su had the most strenuous task. Cha Hun withdrew his power. He seemed to be very serious. Well then, let's move on to phase 2 of the Golan Hunt. Zonggun ran out to inform everyone. All right, everyone, listen up. I'm going to explain the plan now. Our goal is to lure all the Golans hiding underground out. First, we'll start from the first basement level. Split into 2 teams, provoke the ones on the first basement level, then clear them out. Next, we'll take care of the ones on the second basement level. Gu-A had some concerns. What if there are more Golans than we anticipated? Won't we be trapped on the first floor? Also, if the Golan corpses block the way, it'll be difficult to move around. Gazon seemed very confident. Don't worry, I alone can take them all down. Zonggun agreed that that's right. We have more people this time, so that won't be a problem. However, Gu still felt uneasy. If that's the case, suddenly, a loud, earth-shattering sound echoed. It was the Golans. They were lying in wait, ready to attack their prey. Gazon immediately used his bow and arrow to disrupt their path. Sharp arrows flew into their heads one after another. It was Jacques Su's turn to fight. Let's go. He struck them relentlessly with a baseball bat. After a while, the demons collapsed on the floor in pools of blood. Finding it strange, Gu-A asked, Senior, why are you still carrying the bow? Didn't you say you needed it earlier? Jiaxu suddenly realized, oh right. Gazon's voice rang out. Look, their bodies are disappearing. Dong Ho immediately guessed. Could this also be Cha Hun's ability? Zonggun turned to everyone and said, all right, then let's go down to basement level 1. The corner of Dong Ho's mouth curved into a slight smile. I knew he would have a solution. Zonggun, Gazon, and Hezin's trust levels are increasing. Meanwhile, at Cha Hun's apartment, the timing was perfect. I didn't intend to do this, but the result is like I'm monitoring them. The system announced, Dong Ho's loyalty has been unlocked. The conditions for retainer registration have been met. This was hard for Cha Hun to believe, in just a few hours. Anyway, it's fine. The faster I get more retainers, the better the development. The notification panel displayed Dong Ho's stats. Cha Hun's eyes widened. Loyalty is already at 88. Not a bad thing. So the time for retainer registration has been determined. At basement level 1, the battle officially began. Dong Ho felt an electric current running through her body. Jiaxu yelled, what the hell is this? The goblins shrieked continuously. The bright light flashed. causing even the goblins to recoil in pain. Zongun shouted, "I don't know what's happening, but whatever, run." They ran with all their might, turning back to attack as they fled, firing sharp arrows and exploding bullets into the goblins' heads. This time, Jane was furious. She turned back and attacked them relentlessly. These actions further enraged the goblins, and they roared. Dong-ho turned and ran. "There are too many." Zongun looked on in horror. "Damn it, I didn't expect to attract this much attention." Jaksu said as he ran, "It seems like the ones from basement level 2 have also come up here. Quick, run to the emergency exit." The emergency exit door was right in front of them. Gue held the door for everyone. "Hurry." As they escaped, Zongun slammed the door shut. Yet, the goblins were still rattling the door. Everyone worked together to keep it closed. The goblins continued trying to open it. Gue suggested, "It's hard to hold them back like this. Everyone, quickly go up to the first floor." Hun Chun yelled, "Get back. I become empowered with the strength of a gorilla." Hun Chun successfully closed the door. "Did I have to do this?" He used all his strength. As he pushed, Hun Chun thought to himself, "I have to do this. This is my duty." Zongun called out, "Uncle, we're safe. Come on up." Hun Chun withdrew his power. "Okay." He turned and ran upstairs. But unfortunately, Hun Chun twisted his ankle. At the same time, the goblins swarmed out like a hornet's nest. Hun Chun yelled angrily, "What? Go on ahead." Zongun didn't know what to do, damn it. Just then, Jaksu ran out. "Uncle, hurry over here." The goblins clung to Hun Chun. The goblins were pulling at his leg. Suddenly, Hun Chun vanished from there. Jaksu was bewildered and confused. He still didn't understand what the hell was going on. A goblin suddenly appeared above Jaksu. Luckily, Jongun's arrow was there. "Jaksu, hurry." Jaksu ran with all his might, everyone shouting his name, Jaksu. Jongun kept shooting, "Hurry up." Even Jayan was terrified. The goblin horde grew larger and larger. At a dark building, a high-rise, hidden inside was death, danger, kill more. Need more. The sounds of the goblins echoed, making people terrified and wary. Kill them all. Hun Chun luckily escaped, hiding in a room, panting that I almost died. He came face to face with Cha Han. Because I was worried about everyone, I used Mind's Eye to observe everything here. Fortunately, the Guardian summoning skill is still working well. Hun Chun breathed heavily, coughing. "Since when?" Cha Han asked with concern. "Wait, are you alright?" Hun Chun replied, "It's a minor wound. It'll heal quickly. I should probably buy more healing potions from the system." Cha Han said coldly, "Wait here for a moment." Hun Chun was dumbfounded. You want to get bandages and antiseptic to treat him. In a situation like this where someone is injured, medicine is always the most essential thing. Looking back, it reminded him of his childhood. Cha Han was thoughtful, carefully preparing the necessary tools. But the system only has 40 empty slots now. What items should I register now? He laid them out and pondered. Then suddenly, a good idea popped into his head. All right, Cha Han brought the first aid kit and placed it in front of Hun Chun. "Let me see your wound." The wound caused by the goblins was quite deep and gruesome. Will it really recover? "I'll disinfect it first." "Yes." Cha Han began treating him. Hun Chun winced in pain, frowning and yelling. "Civilian Choi, Hun Chun's trust in you has increased. Civilian Choi, Hun Chun's loyalty has increased." Hun Chun said happily, "Thank you so much. I wonder if the others are okay now. Just rest here for now. I have something to do." "Yes. Let's see what's new downstairs with Mind's Eye." Mind's Eye, the mysterious basement, level 1. Cha Han remembered, thinking of Jaksu. "Run." The urgent cries echoed. The goblins pursued relentlessly. Jaksu ran and fought back with all his might. However, their ferocity and speed made his heart pound. Their large mouths seemed to want to devour him whole, alive. Suddenly, a dark figure flashed by and said, "Escape quickly." Dong-ho came to the rescue. "What? Are you crazy?" "But he's a good fighter. Anyway, everyone is doing pretty well." Dong-ho, level 30, title, second person, ability, teleportation. Mission destination. Use mental energy for spatial movement. Can only move to places with high mental energy visibility as the movement distance increases. Registering him as a bodyguard is the right move. "Have you prepared the outlet, Gun A?" "Yes," he replied. "What about the water tank?" "It's done here too." "Dong-ho, hurry up and get in." Goblins chased after them in droves. Dong-ho, like a superhero leaping over obstacles, jumped into the room and was safe. At the same time, the water tank, combined with the power source, was about to explode. It burst, overflowing. The Golings panicked. The rushing water made them helpless. John Gunn yelled, "Now's the time, Gun A." Alright, Gun-A pressed the switch, activating the power outlet. A powerful surge of electricity. Dot jolted and splashed, electrocuting them. They were paralyzed, stunned. A notification appeared. Level 6 Goling defeated. Suddenly, Cha-hun clutched his head in pain. Perhaps the Goling's death also affected his mind. Multiple enemies detected. Eliminate. The Golings screamed in agony. Just like that, they exploded and disappeared. Level 7 Goling defeated. More and more Golings swarmed in. One of them sensed something behind them. They instinctively turned around. In the darkness, glowing red eyes appeared. It was a ferocious bear. The bear bit into a Goling's shoulder. Seeing this, the others were terrified, and they all became targets of the bear. It took down one, and then another. The Goling death toll continued to rise. So, the Golings decided to join forces. They all pounced on the bear at once, as if calling their comrades to attack together. While the bear was dealing with one side, from behind, Golings bit into the bear's skin, gnawing at it like food. The bear roared in pain, struggling to save itself. However, there were too many Golings, making it difficult to fight back. Just when it seemed the bear would become a meal for the Golings, they suddenly began exploding one by one. The bear didn't understand what was happening. It staggered, seemingly unable to stand. Its body was too exhausted to move. The bear's fur gradually receded, revealing the person transformed into the bear, John Chu. She fainted and collapsed onto the cold ground. As for Cha-hun, he was using his ability to observe. John Chu's figure appeared before his eyes. Who is that? John Chu. When shape-shifting, all physical abilities and regeneration are maximized. Level 33 and an A-rank skill at that. Not to mention, Jong-gun and Hejin reached 50 trust points. Loyalty unlocked. Jaksu exceeded 30 loyalty points. Bodyguard registration requirements met. Excellent. Cha-hun concentrated again. Register Jaksu as a bodyguard. Steel Knight Jaksu can summon full-body steel armor and a long-handled axe weapon. The bodyguard's level is determined by their awakening ability. For example, a C-rank ability, Gorilla's monstrous strength, helped Hun Chun reach level 20, while a B-rank ability, Steel Knight, helped Jaksu reach level 35. Finally, an A-rank ability, Instantaneous Movement, helped Dong Ho reach level 30. So, even when registering a bodyguard, the level is still decided by the awakened ability's rank. So, is that level random? If Dong Ho achieved A rank through loyalty, then Hun Chun, with higher loyalty, should have achieved B rank instead of C rank. But in reality, Jaksu only has 31 loyalty points, but achieved a B rank ability. It would be great if I knew the conditions for higher rank abilities to appear. Actually, this is quite an important issue, because with the limit of 10 registered bodyguards, having someone with a high rank ability is advantageous. But when accepting an awakened as a bodyguard, I don't know what will happen in the future. The awakened can freely move between the stairs and the elevator hall. Cha-hun stepped closer to the elevator and touched the door. Then, he used Supreme Vision once again and focused on John Chu. The elevator was still on the 30th floor. Cha-hun spoke seriously. Hey you. Hun Chun was a little surprised by a sudden change in attitude. Huh, this is the 30th floor, and the door is still open. Cha-hun said, if possible, bring the woman in the second basement floor up here. Switching to Jaksu's group, he was still holding the rope in his hand. What's going on? The Golings suddenly exploded. Gun-A didn't even know what was happening, right? It seems like someone intervened. Jong-gun's eyes narrowed. That if the ability is at this level, then I think it must be. Jong-gun started to recall the past. Hun Chun had told him about Cha-hun. After all, he was a special person. Yeah, and the warm water too. This is also Cha-hun's ability. His wife, Hiyu, also tried to explain, it's all thanks to the ingredients Cha-hun gave us. If it weren't for him, we would probably only be eating rice with tangerines. And then Jong-gun realized something. It was definitely his ability. And Dong Ho too, that timid kid, has completely changed after meeting Cha-hun. Changed to the point of being frightening. No matter what ability that person possesses, the conclusion remains the same. The elevator moved down to a lower floor. Hun Chun hurriedly ran out that I end this hateful world. To be saved, Cha-hun's terrifying power. The ability that only he has. To live, we must be chosen by him. In John Chu's dream, the child she loved was immersed in its joy. At that moment, the child looked at John Chu with happy eyes. Then it called out, Mom. But behind the child, something monstrous appeared. Chu was stunned for a few seconds before she realized. Her mood became anxious and panicked. The Golings were looking at her son with greedy eyes. Chu couldn't just stand there and watch, so she ran towards them, but it was too late. She witnessed her son being killed by them. Next to the toy car was only a red liquid. Chu woke up from a terrible nightmare, and Cha-Han was also there to MS. Chu, he said, then didn't say anything more than calling her name. Chu's head was still aching after waking up. He held out his hand to her. Pleased to meet you. I'm Cha-Han. Chu didn't respond, but suddenly asked, did you do it? Cha-Han still didn't understand what she meant. What do you mean? It seemed a bit difficult for Chu to ask this. The Golings, their heads were blown off. Cha-Han's hand froze. Yes, I did. Chu's eyes looked at him more and more strangely. There were so many Golings, yet they were taken down in an instant. Chu still wanted to find hope. Could it be that, if it's this person? Chu's body started trembling. That could be done. Please, save my son. My son. Just for one day, even just one day, please. Chu's trust increased. I really miss my son. Hearing this, Cha-Han was furious. Golings had murdered her child. A mother like Chu would shed tears for her child no matter how many times it happened. Cha-Han really wanted to help her. Is there any other way? Quest formed. Eliminate 1,000 Golings. Time limit, none. Penalty, none. Revive Junchuesson. Cha-Han felt very strange. Is this really possible? Cha-Han cannot accept the quest. As expected, I can't accept it. It's understandable. Saving someone who's already passed away is impossible. Unable to execute due to insufficient balance. Please increase the required balance and try again. Cha-Han couldn't believe his eyes. So, as long as I have enough money, I can revive the dead. Chu's cries still echoed throughout the room. Cha-Han wasn't sure how much money was needed for revival. The current situation was still quite unpredictable. But me, Ms. Chu, please wipe your tears. What is it? Cha-Han's voice slowed. I think there's a way to help you. I might know how to save your son. There's still hope. Chu was astonished when she heard this. Are you serious? You can save my son. Cha-Han seemed to have thought about it carefully. I think so. But for now, there will definitely be a way. Chu was extremely anxious. Anything, please tell me what I need to do. Gun's group now had Jak-Soo and Dong-Ho with awakened abilities. If the level 33 Chu joined them, Cha-Han thought fighting the monsters would become much easier. It would be best to have all 7 of them become his retainers. Please calm down and stand up. I want to introduce you to some people. Gun extended his hand. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Gun. She immediately replied, I'm Chu. You must be the one who hunts Golings by throwing baseballs, and you use a bow and arrow. Jan was surprised. You know us. Chu tried to explain, don't you recognize me? We've met before, but their expressions showed they didn't know anything. Chu decided to improvise. Her power is focusing. The beast form is gradually appearing. Jayan slowly remembers. It's the beast from the alley back then. Chu chuckled, or rather, the bear. I even helped you a few times after that. Don't you remember? Gun also realized it was that time. It turns out our meeting wasn't a coincidence. After all, Goling is Chu's enemy. Then Cha-Han also showed up. It seems like everyone knows each other. I need to say something. The mission to rescue Dong-Ho's grandmother will begin tomorrow morning. The number of Goling has decreased significantly. It's a good opportunity to save her. This time, Uncle Hun-chun won't participate because he's injured. So, tomorrow, Chu will join us on the mission. That's the job. See you tomorrow morning. Everyone agreed. All right. Suddenly, Cha-Han called out, Dong-Ho, Jak-Soo. Come outside with me for a bit. Dong-Ho, Jak-Soo. Do you two know why I called only the 2 of you? Both Dong-Ho and Jak-Soo still didn't know what they needed to do. Cha-Han's demeanor became serious. Oh, you know why I called just the 2 of you? Both of them felt very confused. I'm not sure. Does it have something to do with powers? The corner of Cha-Han's mouth twitched upwards. That's right. You two have just awakened new powers. Dong-Ho and Jak-Soo were extremely surprised. Then Cha-Han explained, the ability Dong-Ho received is teleportation. Jak-Soo received the ability called Steel Knight. Before we leave tomorrow, I need to clearly understand both of your abilities. Cha-Han opened the system screen. So first, The system displayed the mission details, awakened ability test. Time limit, 1 hour. Reward, muscle enhancement. Penalty for failure, sleep in the hallway. Do you want to accept this mission? Chahan thought for a moment. A group mission. For now, let's proceed like this. Suddenly, Jaksu excitedly called out to him. So, I've awakened, right? Like Jong-gun. Chahan nodded. Right, exactly. Jaksu was even more excited than before. Sounds cool. What kind of ability is Steel Knight? Chahan replied, it's the ability to summon steel armor and a large lance. As soon as he finished speaking, something appeared beside Jaksu. Huh, what? He yelled out in fear, and only white smoke could be seen surrounding them. Dong-ho also sensed identities at work. With this power, Dong-ho's trust and loyalty increased. He nodded in front of Chahan. Thank you so much. But Chahan couldn't accept it right away. Wait a minute, Dong-ho. Going to your grandmother's house right now is impossible because there's no guarantee that you've mastered your ability yet. Just now might have been luck. First, we need to know the current maximum teleportation distance and understand the penalties for using the ability. Something appeared behind them, causing both of them to stare intently. It was a strong suit of armor and a sharp lance. Jaksu couldn't believe his eyes. Could it really be done? Jaksu's trust increased, as did his loyalty. Seeing this, Chahan wanted to test something. Dong-ho, can you use your teleportation to move over there? Although hesitant at first, Dong-ho agreed that I'll try. The assigned mission, use teleportation to reach the rooftop of Building 113. Time limit, 3 minutes. Reward, increased teleportation proficiency. Penalty for failure, sleeping outdoors. Jaksu reassured him, you can do it, Dong-ho. Dong-ho focused all his power. Then, he instantly teleported. He appeared in a different room. Looking out, Dong-ho said, all right. Citizen Dong-ho completed the mission. Chahan felt relieved, but Dong-ho's complexion wasn't good. He staggered, about to collapse. Chahan's eyes widened as he looked in that direction. Recall Dong-ho's soul. Dong-ho immediately returned, having fainted after using his teleportation ability. He fainted. It seems to take a lot out of him. Chahan looked at the system interface. Fortunately, with enough rest, he'll be fine. It seems Dong-ho isn't used to his power yet. As for you, Jaksu, do you exercise? The mission for Jaksu, exercise while wearing armor. 100 push-ups and squats. Time limit, 10 minutes. Reward, increased strength. Penalty for failure, sleeping outdoors. Jaksu began his physical training. First, push-ups, then squats. Sweat poured down Jaksu's body. Done. I'm actually done. Citizen Jaksu completed the mission. Chahan thought, perhaps because he's a physical education student, his stamina is truly different. Chahan was watching to see how the system would evaluate him. What's this? Jaksu asked, I'm finished, right? Chahan forced a smile. Yes, good job. You can rest now. Thank you. Jaksu's evaluation was complete. Yes, thank you for your hard work. Chahan's muscle strength also increased slightly. He looked at his hands. My strength has increased. Chahan suddenly laughed. If so, then the story will be a little different. The next day, in an alley somewhere in Busan, Jong-gun yelled, run. Everyone ran from the Golings. Jaksu, unable to take it anymore, stopped. The Golings reflexively stopped as well. Jaksu's body was equipped with armor and a lance. You disgusting creatures. He thrust the tip of his lance into a Goling. With a single thrust from Jaksu, the limbs of other Golings flew in all directions. The enraged Golings began to attack. Jaksu wondered why there were so many of them. You vermin. One by one, their heads were pierced. Jaksu didn't understand what was happening. It was Dong-ho. Don't worry about the ones behind you. I'll provide support. Hearing this, Jaksu felt a surge of fighting spirit. All right, I'll go ahead. The Golings seemed to hesitate after seeing Jaksu's belligerence. Jaksu taunted, you punks, come and fight me. But they suddenly panicked and started crying. It was because they saw the bear in front of them. The terrified Goling could do nothing but cry. Dong-ho and Jaksu pressed their attack. John-chu used his claws to send the Goling to hell. In the midst of the chaos, Jong-gun's voice echoed everywhere. Dong-ho, quickly go to your grandmother now. Hearing this, Dong-ho immediately ran off. Yes, thank you. John-chu completed the mission. Evaluating John-chu's missions. The evaluation text is still running on the system. Chahan is checking the evaluation. 132,966 has been transferred to the Absolute Master's wallet. Money. The reward is a bit different, isn't it? Jaksu's ability is powerful combat muscles. So, will the additional rewards later be added randomly too? That's right. The difficulty of the mission has increased, so the reward can also be greater for more difficult missions. Dong-ho completed the mission. He has used up all his mission attempts for today. Evaluating the missions Dong-ho has performed. Evaluation complete. Cha-hun said, "Let's open the reward." The system congratulates him. Jackpot. Cha-hun couldn't believe his ears when he heard that. Jackpot. The system congratulates Cha-hun. "You have received a skill point." Cha-hun couldn't believe he hit the jackpot. What? A jackpot? You can get skill points here too. Not bad, huh? On this side, Dong-ho was running with all his might to his grandmother's place. He hesitated slightly in front of the house, an extremely deserted and quiet place. Dong-ho mustered up his courage and opened the door. He ran quickly to his grandmother's room. Dong-ho's face was covered in sweat. "Grandma." His eyes suddenly widened. His grandmother was lying under the covers. Dong-ho tried to call out, "Grandma." Hearing his voice, she slowly opened her eyes. "Oh, Dong-ho, is that you?" Dong-ho's tears started to fall. He cried more than he ever had before, then hugged his grandmother tightly. "Thank goodness." "Grandma, I'm sorry. I'm so late, aren't I?" "Cha-hun, thank you so much." Dong-ho's loyalty has increased. Cha-hun's retainer ownership limit has increased. What's this? Retainer management. Hun-chun, Dong-ho, and Jak-soo have all been added. Cha-hun didn't expect that he could level up like this. Let's see how much Dong-ho needs to level up. Insufficient funds to upgrade. 100 million won is needed to upgrade Dong-ho. Please try again after increasing your current funds. Cha-hun yelled, "What? 100 million? Seriously? I'm sorry, Dong-ho, but I'll give you daily missions." Cha-hun heard a noise coming from another room. The elevator bell. Who is it? Then Cha-hun used his ultimate vision to see what was going on. Two strangers were standing in front of Hun-chun's room. It was Jabin and her younger brother, Minho. "Hello, is anyone home?" Hyun was in the kitchen and came out. She opened the door. "Who are you?" The girl smiled brightly and introduced herself. "Hello, I'm Jabin, and this is my younger brother, Minho. We live in apartment 1701. We came to ask you a favor." Hyun felt very curious. A favor? It seems like Jabin is being very serious. "I know this is sudden, but could we use your shower?" Hearing that, Hyun's face went blank. "Shower? Is that all? Oh my, I thought it was something serious. Come in." Minho spoke for the first time. "Where can I put this?" Hyun felt a little curious. "Oh, what is all this?" Jabin cheerfully explained, "We brought some canned food and a few other things." Just as Jabin said, there were many boxes of food inside. Seeing Hyun's politeness, Jabin felt a little embarrassed. "It's nothing." Suddenly coming to someone's house to ask for a favor. "We should at least bring a small gift." Jabin's eyes drifted to a corner of the house. She saw many bows and baseball bats. "Oh, by the way, are those bows and baseball bats from the residents here?" Even Hyun didn't know how to explain. Those don't belong to the residents of this building. They originally belonged to people who lived in another building. But it's a bit complicated to explain. Jabin didn't ask any further. I see." Cha-hun withdrew his power. At least they don't seem like bad people. I should go over there and see and talk to them a bit. Many notifications popped up on the system. "You have hunted a chain tiger. Received a large amount of experience points. The balance in the Supreme Wallet has increased by 39 million. Skill level has increased. New skill learned." Cha-hun's body suddenly felt strange. What's this all of a sudden? Veins appeared on his face. Switching to Jong Gun's group. They had just gone through an extremely fierce battle. John Chu was seriously injured from fighting the fierce tiger. Cha-hun wasn't doing much better. What the hell is going on? He felt pain all over his body, discomfort surging within him. The system has detected an individual who meets the immigration requirements. Do you want to grant residency? Cha-hun tried to check, are there still survivors? Granted. The system then granted residency to 10 people. The number of residents has reached 50. Resident experience and income rate increased by 100%. Due to the number of residents reaching the threshold, all residents have unlocked the power of belief skill. Cha-hun didn't understand where the injured person was. Meanwhile, Dong-ho was carrying his grandmother and running. Jak-soo and the group tried to bring the injured John Chu back. Cha-hun gritted his teeth in discomfort. Why did John Chu have to get injured at this time? After running for a while, they encountered a group of Golans. Fortunately, Gun A and Hajin were behind them. What? A one-shot kill. Both Gazon and Jong Gun also found it strange. What? My body suddenly feels so light. I don't even feel tired breathing. Power of belief skill increases all stats by a percentage of the trust level. Cha-hun gradually understood the situation, so that's how it is. Jong-gun's team all had a trust level of 50 or higher. Stamina, eyesight, strength, reflexes, all stats increased by more than 50%, so the significant increase in combat power is obvious. Dong-ho cried tears of joy, of course. This is also thanks to Cha-hun. Gaezon's residents have reached 30 loyalty points, qualifying them for retainer registration, and so has Hajin. Cha-hun didn't expect both of them to be able to register as retainers. Gaezon and Hajin felt the changes in their bodies. Gaezon is at level 20 with the ability penetration, while Hajin is at level 25 with the ability poison fog. The goaling started to slow down. At this point, Gaezon had no intention of running anymore. She used her bow and arrow to punish them, eliminating them all with a single arrow. What's going on? Penetration C consumes spirit to fire an arrow that pierces the target. Cha-hun activated a quest. The content is as follows. Use the penetration skill to hunt 10 goalings within 10 minutes. Cha-hun felt a bit ambivalent about this skill. It's powerful, but poison fog is B rank. If used incorrectly, it could negatively affect allies. Let's put that aside and consider it later. Gaezon completed the quest. She has used up all her quest attempt for the day. Evaluating the quest, Gaezon completed. Cha-hun said dejectedly, "Oh, I didn't get anything this time. I'll check the situation with the residents downstairs." Cha-hun activated Supreme Vision. There's movement in the shadows, and he's holding an empty water bottle. Oh, clever. They've stocked up on water in advance. They have enough food, too. No wonder they didn't need to join Jong-gun's group. They've already prepared enough water and food. Cha-hun noticed another person there. He quickly ran outside. It's Gia-tron, consuming spirit to heal wounds. Cha-hun couldn't hide his surprise. What? A healer. Cha-hun stood in front of apartment 2902. He slowly opened the door, but it was blocked by something. Cha-hun was wondering what to do. Alright, the new skill I received. It's the ruler's invisible hand skill. Summon and control an invisible hand. Cha-hun was already excited. Good. He tried to imagine the door barricade breaking, and in front of him was a multi-tool. Cha-hun tried using it to cut the barricade. The barricade broke in two. Cha-hun could easily open the door, then he quickly ran inside. He sat down next to Gia-tron. Hey, wake up. This is bad. Her condition is worse than I thought. It looks like she's severely dehydrated. Is there anything around here that can help? What is this? No way, why? No matter what, I have to save her. Will this work? Cha-hun performed the quest to help someone wake up. He had to spend 10 million won to save Gia-tron. Hey, are you more awake now? Gia-tron's eyes fluttered open. Who is it? He introduced himself that I'm Cha-hun. I live upstairs. I saw you in critical condition and broke in. Gia-tron didn't understand why she felt so scared. Then she started crying. Oh God. Gia-tron couldn't stop the tears from flowing. Cha-hun suddenly felt awkward. He mustered up his courage and said, Gia-tron, I'm sorry, but you have to help us. My teammate is badly injured. A long silence followed. Gia-tron stared at Cha-hun with suspicion. What is he talking about? Who can I help? This is absurd, and he's asking me to heal someone. How does he know I'm a nurse? Seeing how desperately he's asking for my help, he doesn't seem dangerous. But I can't be sure. I'll pretend to agree for now. Alright, where do I need to go? Cha-hun checked the system panel. Hold on. The assigned quest is to use power to heal John Chu, who is injured. Time limit, 1 hour. Reward, increased power proficiency. Penalty, none. Heal John Chu. First, have this and rest. I'll bring the person who needs healing here. Gia-tron continued to wear a bewildered expression. Wait, hey mister. She yelled. Hold on. Gia-tron pointed at the system. What is that? This isn't the time for chit-chat. I'll explain later. Your body is still very weak. Rest here for a bit. Gia-tron fumbled and picked up the orange dot. Am I dreaming? Cha-hun's door opened. He hurried back to check the system. Gia-tron's trust level has increased. She still doesn't trust me. That's understandable. I barged in so suddenly. How could she trust me easily? They should be arriving soon. Something made Cha-hun stop. In front of him was the group being chased by a tiger. Cha-hun was shocked when he saw it. It has long, sharp teeth, sharp claws, and agile legs. It's the red tiger. Cha-hun looked out the balcony with a panicked expression. Another one. Below, a ferocious red tiger was growling and baring its fangs, chasing the group. The three of them were running in panic when suddenly a Crash and a scream rang out. Hearing the sound, everyone stopped and saw Hajin fall to the ground. She had tripped and fallen while running. Jane cried out in panic, her eyes filled with fear. Hajin. Right behind Hajin was the aggressive tiger. It lunged forward to attack its prey. A terrifying moment was about to unfold as the tiger closed in on Hajin. Jane yelled no, but the tiger was right behind Hajin, baring its sharp, dangerous fangs. It was a terrifying moment for her. Her eyes widened. Then bam! Just as it was about to pounce and attack her, a flash of light appeared, enveloping the front of the tiger, startling it. Then the light instantly vanished with the wind. As the tiger looked on in astonishment, Hajin, who had been in front of it, disappeared along with the light. In that moment, Hajin was saved. She looked exhausted and terrified. Cha-hun stood before her, his gaze calm. Seriously, that was close. At least I bought some time. Below, the tiger continued to pursue its prey. An individual meeting the criteria for citizenship has been detected. Do you wish to grant citizenship? Just then, a figure suddenly rushed in from outside. It was Dong Ho and his injured grandmother. His grandmother pleaded for help. Cha-hun calmly said, "Wait a moment." Dong Ho seemed rushed, saying yes, but Cha-hun's resolute, cold gaze met him. Seeing this, Dong Ho quietly said, "I understand." Outside, the tiger continued its bold attack. Cha-hun appeared, his invisible hand at his chin, thinking that tiger must be caught another way. The red tiger growled, chasing after them. Jong-gun, while running, sensed something dangerous approaching. He quickly kicked a metal bar at his feet forward and grabbed a ball with one hand. He threw it with all his might towards the tiger. The ball flew straight toward the tiger, but it dodged and countered the threat. Seeing this, Jane shouted, "Jong-gun." At that moment, the tiger lunged at him, intending to devour him. Seeing the imminent danger, he shouted, "It's too late. Everyone run." Then he quickly dodged the tiger's claws and ran. The tiger pursued him closely. Its sharp fangs were near his back. Jong-gun tried to escape, but the red tiger remained close behind. While running, he looked back at the tiger, his gaze resolute and unafraid. The tiger, about to pounce, suddenly stopped. It seemed as though something or some force had attacked and subdued the tiger, leaving it terrified and in pain. It collapsed to the ground. Its claws scraped frantically at the ground as it writhed in pain, its growls echoing in the air. Jong-gun was stunned as he witnessed everything. At this moment, Jane appeared before him and called out, "Jong-gun." A system panel appeared before her eyes, leaving her bewildered. The tiger had been eliminated. From afar, Cha-hun quietly observed, thinking to himself, "I didn't necessarily have to do it myself. Since Kim Jae-in went hunting, we'll be able to collect quite a lot of spoils now." Meanwhile, Jae-in faced the furiously struggling tiger, drawing her bow towards it. It bared its fangs, challenging her, but she remained cold and unwavering. She powerfully drew her bow and shot towards the tiger. At that moment, the system announced, "You have acquired Red Tiger Level 28. A large amount of experience, 63,211,776, has been transferred to the wallet of the Absolute Being's in-house citizen, Mun Dong-ho. Trust level increased, Citizen Kim Jae-in. Trust level increased, Citizen Kim Jae-in. Honesty level increased, Citizen Su Hajin. Trust level increased, Citizen Su Hajin. Loyalty level increased, Citizen Ha Jong-gun. Loyalty level has surpassed 30. Citizen Ha Jong-gun has met the requirements to register as a retainer." Cha-hun smiled with satisfaction. "Good. Ha Jong-gun. Retainer registration complete." Meanwhile, Jia-chan remained focused on healing the injured. She worked diligently, and finally, the wounds were healed and everyone felt better. Cha-hun said to Jong-gun, "It's fortunate we found Kim Jia-chan just in time." He wondered what happened. What was that red tiger? Jong-gun explained, "Perhaps Mrs. Dong-ho's house was their territory. They successfully hunted one, but it seems there are more. That's why it felt strange. Come to think of it, there weren't any traces of goblins around the house. If goblins really needed a place to stay, Dong-ho's grandmother would definitely have been in danger. It's fortunate it was just the territory of 2 red tigers. We were lucky." Citizen Kim Jia-chan completed the mission. The mission cost of 73,312 was deducted. Jia-chan sighed in relief. It's finally over. Cha-hun smiled and thanked her. You've worked hard, Jia-chan. Hearing this, she replied it was nothing. So can I go home now? Suddenly, a voice called out, wait a moment. Hun-chan appeared and said awkwardly, Mr. Cha-hun, I know this isn't the right time to talk about this, but don't tell me we're going to continue gathering at my place, right? He chuckled nervously as he spoke. Cha-hun said, don't worry, room 2901 is currently vacant. I'll provide electricity and everything necessary for living, so please move there from now on. Everyone was surprised when they heard this. He continued, Kim Bin, rooms 2101 and 2102 on the 21st floor are also vacant. I'll provide electricity to those rooms, so please let the other survivors know they can use them for showering, hygiene, and other personal needs. Bin replied, all right, fine. Then Cha-hun continued, understood. If you want, you two can have full use of one room, and the other room can be used as a common space. This surprised Bin and Minho really. We can stay. But Cha-hun continued, but I have a favor to ask. Seeing this, Bin said, yes, anything. He continued, I want you to act as a liaison between me and the survivors from now on. Bin asked the liaison. He confirmed that's right. Announced that from now on, the team that eliminates 100 goblins the fastest will be given a vacant apartment to use. I promise to provide unlimited electricity, water, gas, and food. Also, if each apartment accepts 10 survivors to live together, they will also receive the same treatment. However, emphasize that the provision time may vary depending on the floor they live on. Finally, he emphasized with the utmost seriousness, from now on, only those who prove their worth will receive the rewards they deserve. Quest issued quest content. Hunt goblins above level 10. Time limit 168:00 reward. A small amount of experience. Penalty for failure. Prohibition from using common resources. Do you accept this quest? Yes/no. Scene change then. A panicked young man rushed forward. He was frantically running, followed by terrifying creatures. He cursed under his breath as he ran. Damn it, just a little further, just a little bit more. Ahead was the door. He tried to run as fast as he could from the hideous creatures chasing him. Just as they grabbed his sleeve, he lost his balance and fell. He screamed, hey, right now. His teammates arrived just in time, saying, great job. You lured quite a lot of monsters. One teammate, with a calm, almost gleeful expression, held his weapon at the ready. Seeing them, the monsters ferociously charged, surging towards the four men. But they were blocked by the weapons of the three teammates and kicked away, sprawling on the ground with angry growls and shouts. The monsters behind them continued their arrogant and aggressive attack, but they were all repelled. Beaten back, they fled in fear and cowardice. One of his teammates urgently called out, hey, over there, they're running away. Quick, attack. A man in the group smirked. He said to his two remaining teammates, hey, want to see something interesting? Then he took the knife, wrapped around his staff, and launched it forcefully towards one of the fleeing creatures. The knife pierced straight through the monster, killing it instantly. He laughed loudly, excited, showing off his accomplishment to his teammates. Awesome, right? His two stunned teammates replied, totally awesome. The red-haired man asked, so, how many have we caught in total? One of them replied, I got 22. The other said, I win. I got 24. Hearing that, the red-haired man said, so just the three of us have caught over 100 already. The other two chimed in, really? We're done already. Wow. I thought it would take forever to catch 100 of those things. While the three were chatting, the young man from earlier approached and loudly complained, damn it, you clearly said it would only be about 10 or so. The red-haired man glared at him, but what's the problem now? The young man immediately retorted, did you see more than 10 over there? Another voice chimed in, as long as the results are good, it's fine. We're about to get a new apartment. The young man yelled angrily, what? I almost died because of you. The red-haired man looked at him with disgust. Hey kid, who came up with this plan? It was me, right? And you were so confident that all you had to do was run. He said, confronting the young man. He declared emphatically, if you're not satisfied, I'll kick you out of the group. We'll be fine without you. Seeing the tension rising, the other two stepped in to intervene. Hey, calm down. Min did a good job too. They said while trying to mediate. One of them also tried to reason with Min. Yeah, Min, you were a great decoy. Incredibly fussed. But the red-haired man was still annoyed that, this is so frustrating. You dare to curse at me. What kind of language is that? Seeing this, his teammate tried to smooth things over. Min, yeah, cursing at him was a bit much. Apologize. Min, still irritated, grumbled, fine, I'm sorry. With things seemingly calmed down, the red-haired man turned and ordered, forget it. Let's go to the 21st floor. We have to get that new apartment. However, when they arrived, someone there said to them with a smile, sorry, but another team already claimed the reward. They were all stunned and couldn't believe their ears. So they quickly asked, another team caught 100 monsters before us. The person nodded, yes. The red-haired leader was still bewildered. Wait, Raven, don't joke around. Give us the apartment. Raven affirmed, I'm not joking. Oh, perfect timing. They're coming now. At that moment, a group of people approached them. Raven began to introduce them, the team that caught 100 goblins first. Swang Diop looked at them, stunned, staring at the three victors, Mr. Chi Ho, his wife, and Min Ho. Raven stepped forward and asked Min Ho, so, how did it go? Min Ho replied, we made a deal. We give up the new apartment, and in return, they'll provide electricity, water, food, and other necessities for my family and Mr. Chiho's. His daughters are also exempt from duty. Raven immediately questioned, aren't Mr. Chiho's daughters still minors? If they're minors, aren't they already exempt from duty? Just as he finished speaking, Mr. Chiho's voice was heard from behind. He said, they're both adults now. Haha, my daughters look younger than their age. They take after their mother. Oh, is that so? Raven laughed cheerfully. I bet they're good archers like me, but their mother worries too much, Mr. Chiho's wife said. Remembering something, Min Ho spoke up. Oh, right. I also negotiated for them to receive a bow and arrows. Hearing this, Dabi suddenly asked Min Ho, a bow and arrows. What for? Are you planning to continue hunting goblins? He replied, Father personally asked us to clear out the goblins nearby. Those pesky goblins, we keep catching them, but they never seem to disappear. While the two were talking, Swang Diop angrily interrupted. Hold on, isn't this favoritism? You have connections with them. This isn't fair at all. Raven immediately said, oh right. Min Ho continued, because they were worried it would seem unfair, they decided to give similar benefits to the second and third place teams and told them to go to the 30th floor. Oh, is that so? Raven laughed loudly. Got it. Great. Go with your team to the 30th floor. He's waiting for you all. The group quickly took the elevator to the 30th floor. One of them asked, hey, is that guy Father? I heard he's younger than us. Swang Diop sneered, calling him sir every time we mention him. It's ridiculously funny. Seriously, like he's some kind of god. Got my foot. More like a cult leader. That brat only learns bad things. The group laughed and joked. Meanwhile, Swang Min suddenly spoke. I don't know if you have the right to say that when you're being protected by his power. Besides, you're all going to suck up to him now, aren't you? Hearing that, the other three turned to look at Swang Min. Swang Diop glared angrily and said, hey you. When the elevator reached the 30th floor and the doors opened, Diop said irritably, see you later. At the same time, someone was arriving there, Cha-hun. He smiled and said hello. The group was surprised. Seeing this, he introduced himself. I'm Swang Diop. He shook hands with Cha-hun. Cha-hun smiled and said, I've been closely watching the performance of Swang Diop and the team members. Your use of the defensive wall was also very impressive. Swang Diop felt a pang of guilt. How did you know about that? Cha-hun calmly replied, right now, I'll provide electricity, water, and gas to apartments 1301 and 1502. Swang Diop asked, is that really possible? Cha-hun replied, yes, of course. The other side asked how it was possible. Cha-hun cut them off. First of all, you caught 100 goblins, so you've met the requirements. And I'm not a cult leader. The group was astonished by Cha-hun's words. He calmly smiled and continued, I also have no intention of becoming a god. Oh, by the way, there's something I'd like to ask. Scene change. A moment later, the group of young men from earlier are running in a panicked frenzy, their footsteps scattering across the ground. Behind them, a pack of ferocious, giant goblins with glowing red eyes are chasing them, weapons in hand. While running, the group stops to gain momentum before rushing into an alley. At the same time, the group leader shouts, throw it. The one in front is Zhang Gun. Zhang Gun, with sharp eyes and a look of excitement, replies good. He then leans back, building momentum to hurl his spear at the goblins. Simultaneously, the system announces, Hot Zhang Gun, level 33, title, 6th member of the Ordinary Knight Order. Trust 70, loyalty 78. Awakened ability, throw and pierce. Experience distribution, 200%. Mission assigned. Throw B. Consume stamina to throw an object, increasing attack power 5-fold. Pierce. A. Consume stamina to pierce with a spear, increasing attack power 6-fold and inflicting critical damage. Knight. As loyalty increases, attack power increases. Experience and rewards from monsters slain by the knight are tripled. Spear skill. Current proficiency 11%. Higher proficiency results in higher damage. At that moment, Jong Gun throws his spear towards a goblin, piercing straight through it and killing it. But the attack doesn't stop there. The goblins behind continue their ferocious advance. Their faces fierce, weapons raised, intending to attack Jong Gun. But just then, an arrow flies from behind, whizzing past him and lodging itself directly into the head of a goblin. The arrow belongs to Jan. She has appeared just in time, killing the goblin. Jong Gun, remaining calm, retrieves his spear from the goblin's back and throws it at another goblin in front of him. The spear flies straight towards the goblin, impaling it. The system announces again, you have defeated an OT level 19. Received 3,211,098 experience points. 3,211,098 has been transferred to the residential funds. Team mission, exterminate OT forces complete. After eliminating the goblins, they find 3 survivors, trembling in fear. Jong Gun smiles reassuringly and leads them back to the shelter. The system displays, unauthorized individuals are attempting to enter the territory. An individual meeting immigration requirements has approached the residential area under your management. Do you wish to grant this person citizenship? Cha-hun, upon learning of this, thinks to himself, this time it's 3 people. Seems like it's exactly the number I need right now. Grant citizenship. Granting citizenship to Im Jong-yu, Sun Sep-bayu, and Im Hung-sung. The population has reached 200. As the population has reached the threshold, you are now authorized to collect taxes. Tax collection. Collect a percentage of residents' income. Residents' funds will decrease, and they may become dissatisfied. Cool down, 30 days. Cha-hun thinks, with this skill, I'll get a portion of the residents' income to spend on upgrading more facilities. But this is also a pretty important matter. I need to be mindful of the residents' mood. I can't be careless, but I've already upgraded the facilities. To recoup the costs with this income, it'll probably take 10 months. But I don't have much time. So to save my parents, I need to quickly send Hot Jong Gun's elite team to Nambu Minjong. But first, I need to distribute the reward money. I should distribute about 30% of the earnings. Consider it an investment and a way to appease the residents. Cha-hun decides and clicks on the system panel. Skill leveled up. Supreme Resident has reached level 10. Received 3 skill points. Cha-hun suddenly feels a sharp pain. He grimaces, his face turning pale, and clenches his teeth. At that very moment, security outside the apartment complex is tightened. Congratulations, you have claimed ownership of the apartment complex, received 10 million in support, and the construction function has been activated. Cha-hun, seeing the system notification, wondered construction. How? The system continued to display the currently constructible structures. Solar power, 13 million. Convenience store, 22 million. Gym, 30 million. Support, 10 million. Total annual income is 30 million. After hearing the notification, Cha-hun was stunned. He couldn't believe it. Only 30 million a year in support. The completion cost is way too high. It'll take years to recoup the investment, not to mention maintenance. The system notified, do you want to build it? Cha-hun pondered and calculated. This isn't good. There are still many other expenses. Upgrading Ha Jong Gun would be more immediately beneficial. Suddenly, Cha-hun seemed to realize something. Wait a minute. The system suddenly notified him again. The support fund is 10 million. The support fund can only be used to build infrastructure. Cha-hun was surprised that, now I understand. This money is completely separate from the money in my account. If so, I can spend it right away. He smiled with satisfaction. The system asked again, do you want to build it? He chose yes. The system emphasized solar power completion time, 24 hours. The remaining support funds will be sent to your fund. Cha-hun thought and said, all right, it's a bit of shame, but now we have plenty of electricity to use. I'll consider building other structures later. But the system immediately announced the solar power system can only be installed once per apartment complex. Hearing that, Cha-hun pointed at the store icon in the system. What about the convenience store? He was surprised. This looks pretty good, doesn't it? This can directly sell items obtained while hunting monsters. Especially since it has an automated system. No cashier needed. Just prepay and the store can provide many readily available items. After thinking it over, Cha-hun felt satisfied. Not bad. Before, getting necessities took a long time. If we have this store, everyone can shop for themselves. Cha-hun thought carefully. I can adjust the selling price too. This way I can make a little profit. Let's proceed. He decided to click select, after which the system displayed, select a location to build the convenience store. Cha-hun hesitated for a moment, then said, the location is room 101. The system acknowledged and replied, convenience store completion time, 48 hours. Finally, the gym. The gym, a basic training area for residents, increases strength, stamina, and agility. Training here increases effectiveness by 200%. Hearing this, Cha-hun laughed excitedly, his face full of satisfaction. I knew training here would be more effective. However, combined with the rewards from hunting monsters, it'll be even greater. The system displayed the prompt. Select a location to build the gym. He quickly answered, use the entire second floor for the gym. Gym completion time, 72 hours. Cha-hun pondered, looking at the next notification. Let's see. Remaining skill points. 3. Ultimate store management skill has reached level 5. Number of registered items, 500. Unlocked feature, item categorization. Item categorization. Items are divided into categories based on their function for easy management. Cha-hun saw something curious. What's this? He wondered, can I buy individual items instead of the whole package like before? He pondered for a moment, then clicked on the water option on the system. He was immediately surprised to see a dense display of options appear on the system. He found it hard to believe. Although not everything is there yet, the items are much more diverse now. Let's see what else there is, he thought. Then, a series of suggestions popped up, including various types of instant noodles and vegetarian noodles. Seeing this, Cha-hun was amused. This really divides the items into many categories, he said with a delighted expression. Meanwhile, a fierce battle was taking place between the defenders and a group of goblins. Jaksu was fighting the goblins with his sturdy armor. His armor blocked the goblins' attacks and repelled them. He swung his club, hitting a giant goblin. After a while, his group managed to defeat the tough goblins. He sighed and wiped his sweat when Jong-gun called out, hey, Jaksu. He turned around. Huh? Jong-gun asked him, what if you throw that away? This. What do you mean? Jaksu asked back. Jong-gun replied, I want to try something. Give it to me. Before Jaksu could say anything, Jong-gun quickly grabbed the weapon and channeled his strength. He put all his force into it and threw the weapon powerfully. The weapon flew powerfully forward with his throw. It flew far out of their sight. Seeing this, Jaksu reacted strongly. Why did you throw it? Jong-gun calmly replied, all right, try summoning it. Jaksu was still bewildered. Huh? Then he immediately realized something. He then focused his strength to summon the weapon, and the weapon returned to Jaksu's hand. Jaksu excitedly said to Jong-gun, it works. You're so smart. Jong-gun replied casually, it's nothing special, while his eyes looked elsewhere. Over there, Jin hurriedly said, all right, let's retreat. I'm almost out of arrows. As if seeing something, Jan was surprised. Huh? She saw a bow and arrows appearing on the ground. At this time, the system displayed, multitasking, can use other skills in the area currently being observed with absolute eyes. Jain used those arrows to continue fighting. At this moment, the system continued to announce, level 19 orc hunted, received 2,100 experience points. 338 has been transferred to the absolute resident civilian wallet. Kim Jain, Kong Jaksu, Mon Dong-ho, Ju Hee-jin, and Gun A have completed the mission. Mission cost, 2,332,580. Civilian Kim Jain has leveled up. Cha-hun looked at the notification and smiled slightly. As expected, mission rewards can also increase ability stats. With a determined look, he affirmed, I'm starting to see hope. It's about 10 kilometers from here to the main house, about a 3-hour walk. After finishing his calculations, he gently opened the door and stepped out. He entered the elevator. Cha-hun walked slowly, heading up to the rooftop. Looking down, he surveyed the entire city. He sighed, it's truly disastrous. I have to hurry. Then he picked up the system monitor. First, let's start with Ha Jong-gun's group. The system displayed, name, Gun A, level 22, title, trust, 59, loyalty, 33. Awakened ability, Crow Control, no active mission. Currently, Gun A C rank skill is being effectively utilized for reconnaissance, but John Chu, level 33, Trust 51, Loyalty 12, Awaken Ability, Teddy Bear Transformation, Experience split 70%, Rewards split 30%, no active mission. Kim Jie-chan, level 30, title, Trust 70, Loyalty 63, Awakened Abilities, Strength, Speed, Magic Armor, Experience split 100%, active mission. Cha-hun thought to himself, first, I have to put both John Chu and the healer Jie-chan in the party for this to be meaningful. But unlike Jie-chan, who has already completed subordinate registration, John Chu's loyalty isn't high enough. The system continued to display, Blessing A consumes mental strength to temporarily increase the target's physique by 70%. Magic Armor B consumes mental strength to create magic armor to protect the target. Truly, those who possess awakened abilities from the start have overwhelming efficiency. His eyes darkened in contemplation. In the end, there's only that way left. The system displayed. Mission Reward, Sun's Revival. Not enough experience to receive the mission reward, Revival. Please increase your current funds and try again. Cha-hun muttered, dumbfounded, still not enough. First, I have to increase the mission difficulty to the maximum. Mission objective, hunt level 40 or higher monsters. If it's level 40, they'll definitely be strong, but the reward will also be extremely large. Cha-hun looked on with a serious expression and made his decision. Time limit, 24 hours. Penalty, death. The system responded, not enough funds to receive the mission reward, Revival. Please increase your current funds and try again. As expected, my current funds aren't nearly enough. Cha-hun was momentarily bewildered. Suddenly, the system notified him, hunted orc, level 18. Received experience points, 2,788,221. Funds have been transferred to the absolute resident wallet. Cha-hun stared, stunned at party mission. If that's the case, then. The system responded, time limit, 2,400 hours. Reward, number of Sun's revivals. Penalty for failure, death. Do you wish to accept this mission? Yes. No. Cha-hun calmly considered. First, I have to make sure to bring John Chu to my side. Let's see. At that moment, a frantic shout came from outside. Hey, open the door. Please open the door, Cha-hun. Cha-hun, startled by the noise outside his door, went to open it. It was none other than John Chu. Cha-hun was surprised, unsure of what was happening. John Chu, breathless and panicked, cried just now that. Before she could finish, Cha-hun calmly replied, yes, although there's a time limit, it seems feasible. Hearing this, John Chu slumped to the ground, sobbing and covering her face. She cried and thanked Cha-hun. Even just one day is enough, as long as I can see him again. The system notified. Civilian John Chu's loyalty has exceeded 30. John Chu has met the requirements for subordinate registration. Not long after, Cha-hun activated his skill. He used his strength skill to illuminate the house. The lights inside turned on. He said, success. Next is, and turned to look behind him at the faucet. He focused his power on it. The faucet, which had been dripping slightly, now gushed water into the sink. He had successfully used his control skill. Maintaining his composure, he sighed, good. Now I'm getting used to everything. He was happy and satisfied, now feeling like a mage, having control over 3 elements, electricity, water, and gas. The system continued to respond. The store's daily revenue had been calculated, and 320,981 had been transferred to his absolute wallet. Cha-hun thought excitedly. Just 20% profit was 320,000. Including today, the store's revenue had surpassed 500,000. At this moment, he used his divine eye skill to observe everyone in the store. Many people were still moving around. Among them, a group of young men were discussing something. One of them said, hey, how much more do we need to gather? Another replied, if this bout costs 150,000 and we've only gathered about 10,000 today, it'll probably take another month. The first young man shouted, you idiot. Didn't you factor in buying food and instant noodles for half a month? The other retorted sarcastically, oh yeah, if you're so smart, then you calculate it yourself. Other people in the store, hearing this, gossiped amongst themselves. The bonus money has barely been distributed, and the atmosphere has already changed. Outside the store, there were some sounds. Some people were enthusiastically chasing and eliminating goblins. Ever since a mysterious space called the convenience store was created on the first floor of the apartment complex, the small change dropped by goblins had stimulated their hunting instincts for items. Now, residents had to leave the apartment complex to hunt goblins, find items, and earn money to buy things. The pace picked up favorably, and the number of participants increased significantly. Cha-hun smiled with satisfaction as he looked at the system. The system displayed current population 789/11,000 people. Experience bonus plus 100%. Additional bonus plus 100%. Cha-hun's gaze deepened as he made a prediction. Perhaps from now on, the numbers would increase exponentially. At this moment, the system announced, Orc level 18 hunted, received 1,243,817 experience points. Transferred to Absolute Wallet. Everything has begun. At the same time, a fierce battle was taking place. Goblins were being attacked by a bear. The bear frantically lunged, tearing into each goblin. Although the goblins fought back, they couldn't escape. They were bitten, torn apart, and eliminated, red substances splattering everywhere. The bear's eyes glowed red. It roared and slowly transformed. Its body and limbs gradually shifted into human form. Its clawed hands disappeared. It was John Chu, transformed to eliminate the goblins. Just then, a voice called out from behind John Chu. It was Jayan and Jia-chan. They approached and asked, "Are you okay? Are you hurt?" She calmly replied, "I'm fine. A little injury isn't a problem." Hearing this, they said, "Don't push yourself too hard. We'll help you if you need it." John Chu explained, slightly embarrassed, "I feel like I'm hogging everything, so I feel a little guilty, but I have my reasons." Seeing John Chu say this, Jayan reassured her, Why are you apologizing? Thanks to you, we're safe and comfortable. It's great." John Chu smiled gently, her face slightly tired after the battle. While the three were talking, a loud roar echoed from behind, startling them and making them cautiously observe their surroundings. The loud noise grew closer from the darkness. A giant goblin was emerging. All three were horrified at the sight of the colossal monster. They were stunned just as the giant, red-eyed golem, wielding a powerful weapon, strode towards them. At this moment, John Chu yelled at Jia-chan and glared fiercely at the golem. Her expression turned ferocious, her eyes hardening as she began to transform. John Chu shifted into a giant bear with fearsome claws, confronting the golem. Seeing John Chu's form, Jayan and Jia-chan cried out worriedly, "Sister." John Chu snarled, advancing towards the golem with a challenging glare. The two colossal beasts faced each other. The bear, John Chu's transformed state, bared its sharp fangs, challenging the golem. The golem, unafraid, glared back, intent on destroying its opponent. Immediately, the golem charged, weapon in hand, attacking the bear that was John Chu. But she dodged the golem's blow, blocking its weapon. Both sides struggled fiercely to destroy each other. At that critical moment, Jayan appeared with an arrow nocked. Her eyes sharp, she aimed carefully and drew her bowstring taut, releasing the arrow. Propelled by Jayan's strength, the arrow flew straight towards the golem, striking its weapon and knocking it away. Seizing the opportunity, John Chu, in her giant bear form, lunged at the golem. Caught off guard, the golem was knocked backward by the bear's attack. It lay at the bear's feet, its expression fearful beneath the bear's terrifying fangs. The giant bear snarled, tearing into the golem and finishing it off on the spot. Meanwhile, the system announced, "You have hunted at Captain level 28. You have received 73,263,099 experience points. 73,263,099 has been transferred to the resident's wallet. The OZU residents have defeated the boss of Jayanpur. Conditions met. Outpost has been added to the list of constructible structures. A safe zone constructed outside the resident's territory. When activated, it will temporarily exert control similar to the resident's declared zone. However, it only activates when a resident with the title of knight or higher resides there. Outpost, 1.3 billion. Cha-hun exclaimed in surprise, an outpost, 1.3 billion. He said excitedly, "Since we wiped out the odds, our account balance is looking good, and it's still worth investing in." The system displayed Facility requires 3 residents with the title of knight or higher during the 7-day construction period. Do you really want to build? Yes/no. Cha-hun pondered thoughtfully. Wait, that means John Chu, Jia-chan, have to stay there for a week during construction. The biggest expense is time, a whole week. I can't waste time. Cha-hun carefully considered everything thoroughly. And besides, most of the monsters around Jae-in-pa have been cleared out thanks to Ha's squad and the residents. Turning it into an outpost isn't really necessary. So he decided to click I will not build. But midway, he hesitated. Still, it's not a bad harvest. If only I could build this at the main house. If I could do that, I'd at least feel a little relieved. That way, I could protect my family in the safest conditions. But realistically, bringing both mom and dad here won't be easy. Please let them be alive. Depending on the situation, tomorrow I'll send Ha's team to the main house. Meanwhile, back at the station, gasp, whoa, it looks like she saw something. Looking at the dead Golan in front of her, she exclaimed, crazy. How could a person tear apart a knot with their bare hands? Well, obviously, she was already strong before she received her father's blessing. But how did he convince her? She's completely obsessed with Golans. Could it be that she also received a new ability? While I was pondering this, the system notification appeared. Team mission objective, return, time limit, 1 hour 0 minutes 0 seconds, reward, a small amount of experience points. At this moment, Jaehin's team returned behind A. She said to Jaehin, let's go back. Jaehin replied, oh, okay, and whistled a signal. A bird in the distance heard the whistle and immediately flew towards them. A raised her hand and signaled to the bird. It quickly landed on her hand. A stroked it, there, good bird. Someone said, hey, can you scout ahead? She replied, yes, senior. A touched the bird and said, be careful out there. The intelligent bird then flew away from her hand. It flew out to scout the situation, passing over the city. I watched through the bird's eyes and said, there's no problem. I think we can go now. Someone replied, thanks. Let's go. The group walked past the station. Suddenly, I heard something curious. She turned around at, oh, what's that? Is it a rat? She bent down and touched the sewer grate. She realized something and stood up. Looking around, there's a strange sound coming from up ahead, and something's there. Suddenly, a rat jumped out from the darkness. It ran quickly and lunged forward. It stood on a step, looking up towards the station with a dazed expression. Cha-hun bowed his head respectfully before everyone present. Please, everyone, help me. Everyone looked at him with an indescribable expression, because they all felt worried and confused. Cha-hun said, I also know that the chances are very slim. Then someone asked, your family is also in this apartment complex, right? But Cha-hun found it difficult to guarantee that it was true. Dong-ho patted his chest and spoke up will help. No, let me withdraw. Someone else chimed in. That's right. Thanks to you, we've survived until now. I'll help you, Cha-hun. Just tell us anything you need. Everyone agreed. So Cha-hun was very happy. Thank you. The orcs occupying Chunwa Station have all been cleared out, so just follow the subway line to Samsen Station. Gachi Station is the closest station to my house, so just exit through exit 2. After leaving the station, I'll give you specific directions. I don't mean for everyone to go straight there in one go. I know that's asking too much. For now, let's focus on Samsen Station first. Secure that place first. Once again, thank you everyone. Get plenty of rest today, and we'll start acting tomorrow morning. At that moment, John Chu suddenly said, wait a minute, I have a question. With your ability, Cha-hun, couldn't you bring your family here? Of course I tried. The mission reward allows for the instantaneous teleportation of one target. Actually, the reason I was excited when I saw Dong-ho's awakened ability was because of this. If it worked well, I could probably bring my whole family here immediately, but it was a complete failure. It's just a guess. But maybe Dong-ho's grandmother is in a place my influence can't reach. If that's truly the reason, then if my parents die, I won't be able to do anything either. They'll definitely die outside my area of influence. I can't do everything either, unfortunately. I have things I can do and things I can't. But don't worry too much. I'll definitely keep my promise to John Chu. John Chu's credibility has increased. The corners of John Chu's mouth curved into a slight smile. Thank you for the frank conversation. Dad nodded and said, yeah, you too. So, let's end it here for today. Everyone get some rest. Everyone returned to their apartments, saying, I'm off. Get some rest before leaving. Another notification arrived from the system. Unauthorized entity attempting intrusion. An individual meeting the criteria for citizenship is approaching the building. Do you wish to offer citizenship? Dad used supreme vision. Offer it, he said, unawakened, in the form of a rat. Even Dad found this hard to believe. About an hour ago, in my vision. Who are they? The group that slaughtered the orcs. Maybe they're all awakened, but is that even possible? I'll follow them for now. It's definitely worth approaching. It's getting hard to take care of everything by myself. With my abilities, this is completely possible. First, I'll observe a bit, going past this building, then crossing over to another alley, then climbing up the slope ahead. There was the sound of children laughing nearby. Mom, look over here. The children were playing happily, utterly astonished. Children playing in the playground. Why are there so many people only in this building? What the hell is this place? I have to observe more closely. With my ability, I can move very quickly. She ran inside a large building, but there was a barrier blocking the entrance. Her head had a large bump, no entry. What the hell is this? The system asked her if she wanted citizenship. She squeaked, yes, definitely yes. But the system didn't respond. Dejected, she thought, just as I thought, being a rat won't work. Then the system displayed, citizenship granted. Finally, success. Oh, it worked. She quickly ran inside and immediately heard people shouting. They yelled in panic, a rat. It's running. Catch it. She frantically ran from place to place. She didn't know how many times she'd rolled around to avoid them. Finally, she escaped the troublesome crowd, and then she stumbled into the gym. There were Jaein and Hezin. There was also Dong Ho, and over there were Jaein and Hezin, and also John Chu and Jia Chan. I don't know what kind of den I've wandered into. Where the hell is this? Moving down into the sewer. She turned back into a human. What a headache. Then, she felt excited. Finally, a way out. The problem is how to get there. For now, I just need to find a way to Chimbu Station. That's really the only way. Using the subway line would work. But the problem is those monsters at Samsen Station. But that's also why there's a chance. Because there's nowhere I can't go. Dad successfully hunted a domesticated house rat, gaining a small amount of experience. 1416 has been transferred to the Supreme Residence Wallet, queen of the A-rank rats. All rats show loyalty in her presence. Once tamed, they can be controlled like limbs and share senses. Dad just realized, so she's the one controlling the rats. He uses Supreme Vision, an A-rank awakened coming to me. I must recruit her as a subordinate. But where is she now? She's not nearby. I have to summon her immediately. Issue a quest. Quest issued. Visit the apartment. Time limit, 48 hours. Reward, cola and chocolate. But Dad hesitated. Wait a minute. You remember John Chu's words? I have a question. Can't you use your power to bring your family here? Dad tried many times but failed. If the reason is that they're outside my sphere of influence, then those granted citizenship must be within my sphere of influence. No matter how far away they are, the monster corpses they hunt are still calculated by the system as usual. Dad wants to edit the quest to inside the apartment. Time limit, 10 seconds. Reward, same as before. Penalty for failure, summon. Finally, Dad succeeded. I didn't expect to be able to utilize the penalty for failure. Let's see, even just once. If I can summon residents from outside, then bringing my family here safely is entirely possible. If the outpost is activated, will it temporarily have the same power as the space inside the house? Then after sending VA and his opponent away, after building the outpost, I'll grant citizenship to all my family members. I'll use the quest system to summon them here. Sound good? The problem is the cost. Let's try it. Robbing quest. Please don't exceed 1 billion. Resident failed the quest. Quest cost 31 million. Dad sighed in relief that the amount wasn't too large. 30 million. And she's been pulled here too. What? Where is this? Dad didn't think it would work so quickly. He turned towards her, who was very scared and worried. Dad spoke first, hello. Now she was truly panicked. Who are you? Do I know you? Dad said, I'm the one who granted you citizenship. Slowly realizing the situation, she said, wait, so that means the place I'm standing in right now. Dad interrupted her. That's right. This is the top floor of the apartment, building you saw through the rats. Sorry for summoning you so suddenly. You must be startled. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Dad. Accepting the water and cookies from Dad, she said, so that means you call me here. And that's strange quest too. When she saw Dad nod, she suddenly brightened. Oh, I know this is a bit abrupt, but I have some people who need looking after. Could you possibly take them in? Actually, I've been racking my brains trying to figure out how to get everyone here. So I thought I'd take a gamble and ask. Dad asked, surprised, how many people are we talking about in total? She replied, 35. Dad still seemed taken aback. Oh, I didn't realize she had people with her. I'm sorry, but that might be difficult. I can't bring them here myself. She pleaded, please, my mother and younger brother are still there. I'll do anything, so please. Dad paused, unsure what to do. Hold on, let me think. She's not directly in contact, but she was still granted citizenship. That means the space considers the rat's part of her. If that's the case, maybe this could work. Her trustworthiness is 37. Ability, Rat Queen Awakening. Trustworthiness has increased. Well, it makes sense. I have to trust her in this situation. Finally, Dad seriously asked, "You really can do anything, right?" She seemed sincere. "Yes, I'll do whatever it takes." Dad said, "Good. There's only one way. First, you have to trust me completely. Understand? If you promise to trust me, I'll definitely save them." She had no other choice. "Okay, I trust you. I'll do anything for my family." Her trustworthiness increased significantly, meeting the requirements to be registered as a retainer. Dad tapped the system screen. "Good. Let's try this." Retainer registration. A new energy enveloped her. Title, 10th Creature, Beast Tamer Knight. Ability, Rat Queen. Issuing direct quest. Beast Tamer. The stats of tamed creatures increase by 1% of their loyalty, and their growth rate increases by 3% of their trustworthiness. Tamed creatures will not only develop, but also evolve at a certain level. Dad asked, "Are there any rats you've tamed near your family?" She seemed confused by the question. Dad continued, "Right now, bring that rat in front of them." She focused, while Dad used supreme vision to observe. "I see it. Level 2 tamed rat. It's in front of a group of people." They were surprised at a rat. "Isn't that A's rat?" A system window appeared behind the rat, from which a large amount of food appeared. Everyone was bewildered. Food just appeared out of nowhere. Did A send it? Her trustworthiness surged. Just as Dad predicted, excellent. Her ability combined with supreme vision is amazing. From now on, the thousands of rats crawling through the sewers will be my eyes. I just got the strongest reconnaissance squad. Back in her room, struggling to speak, she finally managed to ask, "If it's Nambu Myeongdong, are you talking about the area near Songdo Beach?" Dad quickly nodded. "Yes, that's it." After replying, Dad fell into deep thought. It was quite a coincidence that she was from Nambu Myeongdong, where her family's main house was located. Of course, she had a significant advantage over Ha Dong's group, who had never been that way. Lost in thought, he suddenly noticed the rat on his shoulder. Furthermore, sending just one rat would be enough. Suddenly, many thoughts flooded Dad's mind. Just that alone would be enough to confirm whether her family was alive or not, and sending relief supplies would become much easier. After their negotiation, she happily agreed, "Please, leave it to me." At the same time, a system message appeared on the screen. Citizen trustworthiness increased. Suddenly, Dad made a request. "So, can I ask you a favor right now?" Without any hesitation, she quickly replied, "Certainly." Dad immediately voiced his thoughts. "If possible, I'd like you to move along the subway line." Upon hearing this request, she was incredibly surprised and asked, "Do you mean Busan Subway Line 1? Dad quickly nodded in confirmation. "Yes, because I plan to use that route for the rescue operation later." Suddenly, she reacted strongly and urgently stopped him. "No, you can't." Seeing her intense reaction, Dad asked in surprise, "Huh? What?" Worried, she quickly explained, "There's a monster living in Sam Station." Hearing this, Dad asked dumbfoundedly, "A monster?" He thought to himself, "A monster?" After a moment of thought, Dad suddenly asked, "Can you send a rat to where that monster is?" She nodded immediately, of course. After channeling magic into the rat, it quickly darted off under her control. After traveling for a while, the rat suddenly stopped, sensing danger. A gigantic snake monster, its mouth still gnawing on a person, blocked the rat's path. It tilted its head back to swallow the person whole. Since snakes are the natural enemy of rats, the rat froze in its tracks before the giant monster. After finishing the person, the snake monster searched for its next prey. Even though the rat tried to hide, it was still discovered. As soon as it found the rat hiding behind a pillar, the snake monster opened its massive mouth as if to devour its prey alive. Upon seeing that mouth, the rat was terrified, its whole body trembling in fear. Just as the snake monster was about to bite the rat, it received a powerful kick from the rat. After staggering its opponent, the rat quickly took the opportunity to flee. The snake monster was a little surprised by the attack. At the same time, the rat was trying to quickly escape. At that moment, at Dad's house, he was using magic to hijack the rat's vision to observe. Dad, remembering the snake monster, wondered to himself, asterisk, it's so big. I wonder what its level is, asterisk. It's probably over level 40. After a while, seeing no reaction from Dad, she anxiously asked, Dad, you saw it too, right? We shouldn't use Sam's station. She hesitated slightly and continued, instead, why not skip a station and go to? I've also seen and know the capabilities of those in your group. Dad pondered her words. With their abilities, clearing a path, there wouldn't be a problem. After listening to everything, Dad sighed inwardly and said, right? After thinking it over carefully, he nodded and replied, all right. With a gentle smile, he said, you could go to room 2701. Surprised by his words, she stammered, yes. Seeing her bewildered expression, Dad explained, from today, you'll stay there. You'll need to tidy up a bit. Hearing that she had a place to stay, she quickly thanked him. Yes, thank you. She hesitated slightly, then said, well then, I'll be going. Seeing this, Dad didn't make things difficult for her. Simply nodding with a gentle smile, get some rest. After she left, Dad watched her go, thinking to himself, I'd probably come up with the same strategy if I were in that situation. As he thought this, a smug smile spread across his face, if that were before we merged. Once he thought everything through, Dad opened the system screen and purchased some items, installing solar power generator. The system screen displayed a notification. Construction of the solar power generator will require 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds to complete. After the notification, the solar power generator was immediately assembled on the rooftops of several buildings. From inside his room, Dad observed through the system, nodding in appreciation. This is quite effective, but suddenly, another worry crossed his mind. However, it's still not enough to support nearly 800 people. To gather finances and install additional infrastructure, I'll probably need to increase the number of people working. Dad thought of a plan to help himself. I need to establish at least a 3-shift work system. The new public facilities also need to be managed similarly. Lost in thought, Dad unconsciously furrowed his brow. A moment later, he suddenly exclaimed, all right, let's get started. Inwardly, he thought, let's hunt more. At the same time, at a train station, Dad's group was trying to run away quickly. While running, John Chu yelled loudly, attracting the attention of a monster. Seeing this, John Gunn also shouted, it's coming. As soon as they heard that, the group stopped running and assumed a fighting stance. Seeing this, several bats swooped down, attempting to attack everyone. At that moment, the entire group simultaneously raised their bows and attacked, arrows whistling through the air. Caught off guard, the bats were struck by the arrows. They cried out in pain. The severely injured bats fell to the ground with a thud. Seeing this, John Chu quickly asked, good, is everyone all right? No one's injured. The group replied in unison, yes, we're fine. Suddenly, Hajin stepped forward and hesitantly asked, but about the snake at Samjin Station that Mr. Cha Han mentioned, can we really hunt it alone? Hearing this question, John Chu also hesitated, but then answered reassuringly, it'll be all right, right? In an emergency, Mr. Cha Han will summon us. Hearing this, Hajin gave a wry smile and said, all right, I was worried for nothing. At the same time, John Gunn also spoke up, that's right, no need to worry. Seeing that everything was settled, Chu Han ordered, let's go. As they arrived at another station, their shadows stretched across the wall. The whole group stopped in their tracks, terrified. John Gunn fearfully responded to John Chu, yes. Before them lay a gruesome scene. Numerous golem corpses scattered everywhere. Hajin couldn't help but vomit at the horrific sight. Despite his own fear, John Gunn reassured the girls in the group, let's keep moving. Just a little further. Hearing his words, the group slowly pressed on. But they hadn't gone far when John Gunn stopped again, paralyzed by fear. Following John Chu's command to halt, the entire group stopped. At that moment, John Gunn's fear intensified, his legs turning to jelly. A gigantic snake appeared, its terrifying eyes fixed on them. Shocked and terrified by the sight, Suk-Su's jaw dropped in disbelief. In the midst of the tension, she cried out, how am I supposed to fight a monster like that? As the snake moved, the entire station shook. John Gunn quickly grabbed John Chu and yelled, everyone get down. The station violently trembled, and everyone fearfully dropped to the ground, covering their heads. Screams of terror filled the air. The station felt as if it could collapse at any moment. A chime rang out, and the system announced a group mission, eliminate the giant snake. The time limit was 10 minutes. Success would grant a large amount of experience points, while failure would incur no penalty. The group huddled together in small clusters of 3, gripped by fear. Suddenly, the shaking stopped. Still reeling from the experience, Suk-Su asked, what was that? Gun, clutching her head, wondered an earthquake. While everyone was still confused, Jong-gun stared at the system screen. A single line of text displayed their mission: to deal with the giant snake. Jong-gun was stunned by the mission, silently screaming, "What the hell? Deal with it." He fearfully looked ahead. Before them, the giant snake lay motionless, injured. Jong-gun muttered in bewilderment, "What is this?" Still confused, he wondered, why are they acting like this? Blood oozed from the giant snake's wound. Jong-gun remained silent, glancing at John Chu. Though unsure of what was happening, Jong-gun thought to himself, "I don't know what's going on, but..." With that thought, Jong-gun reached behind his back and summoned his weapon. Without a word, he coldly threw it. The snake couldn't dodge the attack and took the full brunt of the blow. Minutes earlier, Cha-hun, having taken control of a rat's body, had been thinking giant snakes prefer to eat their prey alive. And that's not without its problems. When a live animal is swallowed, it can be dangerous if it struggles. That's why it uses venom to paralyze its prey or constricts it to death before swallowing. But it only does that with larger prey. Meanwhile, the rat, under Cha-hun's control, scurried forward. Cha-hun thought to himself, a tiny rat. It won't worry about swallowing it whole. At that moment, the rat used its momentum to charge straight at the snake. The snake's mouth opened wide as if to bite a car, but the rat quickly slipped inside. At that very moment, Cha-hun, overjoyed, thought to himself, the rat being swallowed immediately could lead to unforeseen consequences. In his room, Cha-hun observed the scene, seeing his plan about to succeed, and laughed as he gave the order, "Open the warehouse." Then, Cha-hun pondered, there are two skills I can use, warehouse and shop, inside the snake's belly. The rat was rushing to find a place to bite and tear. Before the giant snake could feel full, Cha-hun used his skill, summon gas, causing its belly to swell up. After that, Cha-hun immediately used another skill, summon flammable material. At the same time, the snake was suffering immense pain, both from its swollen belly and the burning inside. After a while, the snake's belly couldn't withstand the pressure and exploded. At the same time, because the rat was still nearby, Jae-chin was also affected. Seeing Jae-chin in apparent pain, Cha-hun worriedly asked, "Are you all right?" Hearing the question, Jae-chin gave a gentle laugh and replied, "Yes, I'm fine. I was just a little startled." A moment later, Cha-hun praised her. "You did well, anyway." Jae-chin, still slightly shaken, simply replied perfunctorily, "Yes." After that, Cha-hun used his skill to continue observing Samjin Station. At that moment, Cha-hun had another worry. The monster shouldn't be credited as killed by him. After careful consideration, deciding that it should be killed by teammates who had earned the meat-slaying knight title, Cha-hun issued a mission to Jong-gun's group. The mission caused Jong-gun's group slight confusion. As for Cha-hun, reassigning the mission gave him many benefits, such as receiving 6 times the experience and money for his account. At that moment, a system message appeared on the screen. Jong-gun's group must deal with the giant snake. After receiving the mission, Jong-gun acted immediately. He threw his axe with a cold demeanor. It flew swiftly through the air. As expected, the axe lodged directly into the giant snake's head. At the same time, John Chu empowered his hand and rushed to attack the monster. With a single, simple move, the snake's head was permanently separated from its body. But John Chu didn't stop there. He transformed into a bear and charged powerfully. A hole was created right in the middle of the snake's head. After finishing, John Chu landed gracefully. Despite having dealt such a blow, John Chu was still worried that the snake might be alive, so his expression became extremely serious. At that very moment, a series of system notifications rang out. You have hunted the level 40 Snake King. Received a large amount of experience. 1,812,043,879 won has been transferred to the resident's account. Residents Jong-gun and John Chu have defeated the boss of Samjin Station. You can build a station at the station. Skill level increased. Hometown territory claim increased to level 15. You have received 3 skill points. Immediately after that notification, Cha-hun felt intense pain. A powerful surge of magical energy enveloped the residential area. Suddenly, the system prompted a question, asking if he wanted to accept more residents, as the conditions had been met. While clutching his aching chest, Cha-hun wondered to himself, 200 people. After a moment, he responded to the system, accept. At the same time, the system issued another notification. When a number of residents reaches 1,000, all residents will unlock the basic salary skill, allowing them to passively gain an additional 100 experience and money. Seeing that notification, Cha-hun was surprised, wondering, what's this? The system then displayed Min-ho's information. He was currently level 17, and although he didn't have the ability to awaken, his shared experience and money points were quite high. Cha-hun was very satisfied with his achievements, thinking to himself, nice, this is the basic salary I need. Even if I set the sharing rate to 0%, they still get 100% experience and money. While Cha-hun was still lost in his pleasant thoughts, Jae-chin called out hesitantly, Mr. Cha-hun. Hearing the call, Cha-hun turned and replied, yes. Suddenly, Jae-chin became more urgent, asking, I'm sorry to ask, but could you bring my parents' group here? Hearing those words, Cha-hun pondered for a long time. Then, suddenly, he turned with a smile and replied, of course. He thought to himself with a smug grin, if that was before we merged. Receiving Cha-hun's agreement made Jae-chin overjoyed. Thank you so much. Seeing her happiness, Cha-hun immediately asked, can you control the mouse again? Without hesitation, Jae-chin quickly replied, sure, I can. Seeing her expression, Cha-hun chuckled and said, I'll tell my group to follow the mouse to your parents, so please guide them. Jae-chin excitedly replied, understood. At the same time, at Samjin Station, the giant snake had been defeated. Jae-chin's rat scurried quickly, squeaking as it ran. Jong-gun's group continued to move forward. The group tried to weave their way past the snake's carcass, following the rat's guidance. Suddenly, Jong-gun's face showed fear. Seeing the arriving group, John-chu asked, everyone's here. But seeing the scene, Jong-gun asked in bewilderment, John-chu, is this? Seeing his suspicious gaze, John-chu shook his head and replied, I didn't do anything. It was already like this. Jong-gun was doubtful, a formless fear rising within him. This used to be the orcs' territory. The image of the motionless orcs lying in pools of blood was terrifying to behold. Around the station, the smell of blood was everywhere, making the atmosphere incredibly heavy. Despite their fear, the group continued to walk, observing everything as they went. Jong-gun, who had been observing for a while, suddenly spoke, the boss is dead. The biggest danger is gone, but we can't be careless. John-chu agreed with that thought and quickly added, there might still be groups of monsters hiding around here. Seeing that they were taking too long, the rat urgently beckoned them to follow. Dak-su, seeing that scene, praised, this rat is really smart, isn't it? Seeing his expression, Dong-ho indifferently asked, is this rat also part of Mr. Cha-hun's ability? With that said, the group continued to move. With the rat leading the way, Jong-gun's group quickly followed. Cha-hun observed everything through the rat, thinking to himself, good, there's no major threat now. Suddenly, something caught Cha-hun's attention. The system notification popped up again, remaining skill points 3. Seeing the notification, Cha-hun pondered for a moment. Where should I allocate them? Since the area of operation has expanded, the dictator's eye is the top priority. It also works well with Jae-chin. After carefully considering the benefits, Cha-hun responded without hesitation, dictator's eye, level up. As soon as Cha-hun finished speaking, a wave of pain washed over him. His eyes throbbed violently, and he struggled to stay standing. The black veins within his eyes became more prominent than ever. At the same time, at the orc station, the group was under attack and desperately fighting back. Surprised, Cha-hun wondered, what's this? As they were attacked, the orcs cried out in pain. At that moment, the system displayed information about Golans. They live in packs, are intelligent, and have excellent eyesight. A grim smile spread across Cha-hun's face as he thought, good, I really need this kind of skill. Cha-hun formulated a plan. First, I need to find a monster with a suitable level. I need to delegate tasks to everyone to save on operating costs. After careful consideration, he turned to his side and said, well then, next is... Cha-hun drifted back into his thoughts, maintained dignity skill. For now on, I'll be meeting a lot of people. Their trust and loyalty will also be an issue. Without further hesitation, Cha-hun coldly commanded, maintain dignity, level up. Suddenly, a sound rang out, causing Cha-hun to freeze. He turned around in alarm, thinking, what was that? Gunfire. A sense of dread washed over Cha-hun. This isn't right. At the same time, at the Golan station, several aggressive-looking, weasel-like Golans were attacking Jong Gun's group with guns. Seeing this, Cha Han exclaimed in shock. That's a Golan continued to aim its gun menacingly at Jong Gun's group. Cha Han kept asking himself, without finding an answer, why do the Golans have guns? At that moment, at the station, a Golan shouted and charged forward like a true thug. Jong Gun's group, seeing this, retreated in fear, trying to defend themselves. As the Golans opened fire, Jong Gun, seeing the danger, urgently shouted, "Everyone get out of the way." The group climbed into the train cars to avoid the ongoing gunfire. Hiding inside a car, John Chu whispered in a panicked voice, "Why do they have guns?" Jong Gun, dodging a shot, frowned and replied with difficulty, "We have no chance in a direct confrontation." Suddenly, a confident smirk spread across Jong Gun's face as he thought. But at that moment, unnoticed, Dong Ho had silently positioned himself behind a Golan, preparing for a fatal blow. Jong Gun thought with relief, "We have Dong Ho." Dong Ho's eyes gleamed as he gritted his teeth, staring ahead. Before the Golan could react, Dong Ho delivered a devastating blow, causing it to cry out in agony. As soon as they spotted the enemy, the Golans rushed to attack Dong Ho, but Dong Ho didn't show any fear, casually unleashing powerful blows. Before the Golans could understand what was happening, Dong Ho launched a powerful attack, severing a Golan's head from its body. Seeing this, the Golans yelled at each other, then all aimed their guns at Dong Ho. But before they could pull the triggers, Dong Ho swiftly severed their hands. Seeing the Golans about to flee, John Chu heroically appeared, holding a club and loudly asking, "You're quite brave. Where do you think you're going?" Jong Gun was also ready for battle, and John Chu had transformed into a bear. Both of them rushed forward, giving the Golans a beating they wouldn't forget. Behind them, Hajin and Gun gaped in astonishment at the strength of the two strongest members of the group. Meanwhile, at the front lines, Jong Gun powerfully swung his sword, and behind him, John Chu readied his bow to support his comrades. While Jong Gun's group was struggling, Cha Han had opened the shop and purchased a handgun. After the purchase, Cha Han exclaimed, "Item registration successful." At the same time, the system screen displayed the purchase notification. SQWM 60 handgun for 476,320 and 100 rounds of .38 caliber ammunition for 158. For 100. Looking at the system screen, Cha Han wondered in surprise a gun. Cha Han's expression changed. He suddenly remembered the gun's origin, thinking to himself, that thing was on display in the shop. Without time to worry, Cha Han quickly made a decision, but now, having guns will be advantageous. Everyone's monster hunting will become more proactive. Even those below level 10 will be able to regularly kill orcs. After gearing up, Jong Gun's group quickly achieved victory, and Cha Han watched them celebrate joyfully, thinking to himself, at the same time, the experience and rewards earned by the people will increase exponentially. Suddenly, Cha Han fell silent, lost in thought, but I can't trust all the people. A distant memory suddenly invaded Cha Han's mind. The way I've been accepting people is completely impromptu. His thoughts continued, meaning there are no standards at all. Cha Han hesitated, continuing his train of thought. Accepting everyone without any checks is because I believed I could control them no matter what happened. Of course, the increasing population has its benefits, but the image of the gun appeared, and Cha Han continued his rambling thoughts. With guns in hand, the situation will change somewhat. The people Cha Han had rescued, their eyes carrying a hint of malice, made him somewhat uneasy. There's no guarantee that there aren't problematic individuals among this crowd. A person could fire a gun out of envy, or out of hatred, and some might pull the trigger out of jealousy. A sense of unease lingered in Cha Han's heart. It kept flashing in my mind. For whatever reason, accidents can still happen. In the worst-case scenario, someone could get killed. After careful consideration, weighing the benefits and consequences, I contemplated deeply. I must absolutely only share this with those who have been verified. I looked up at the sky in silence, making the decision in my heart. Even then, it should only apply to those with a high level of loyalty. Well, the first person to receive a gun has already been decided. Back with Jong Gun's group, the Golans had been defeated, lying motionless. The stench of blood filled the air, making everyone uncomfortable, while Dong Ho was still trying to understand what had happened. From above, a gun and a box of ammunition fell right at Dong Ho's feet. Hesitantly, Dong Ho bent down, his hand picking up the gun with some difficulty. As soon as he had the gun in his hand, Dong Ho examined it carefully. He chirped happily, Thank you, Cha-han. After the matter was settled, the rat continued to run ahead, leading the way, and Jong-gun's group silently followed. Walking in silence, Jong-gun's group suddenly saw something that made them stop. Ahead was a tightly locked door. Without a second thought, Jong-gun firmly grasped the doorknob and coldly opened the door. As soon as the door opened, a group of terrified people huddled together, anxiously looking forward. After last night's encounter, the sky finally brightened, revealing a deep blue. Cha-hun sighed, tiredly walking down the street. As he walked, Cha-hun happily mused to himself, "This area, including the promenade, is really nice." Jake Chin, walking beside him, said, "Thank you for picking me up." Hearing these polite words, Cha-hun smiled and replied immediately, "It's been a while. I wanted to take a walk too." As they were walking, the system suddenly popped up a reminder. Unauthorized subject attempting to enter. Looking at the system screen, Cha-hun said in surprise, "It looks like they're here." The system screen continued to display the message. An individual meeting the criteria for citizenship recognition has approached the residential area. Do you wish to revoke citizenship? At that moment, Cha-hun quickly replied, "I propose it." While Jae-chin was still trying to understand what was happening, a voice suddenly called out, "Jae-chin." Hearing the call, Jae-chin happily shouted, "Mom." Seeing this, Jae-chin's mother also replied, "Jae-chin." Jae-chin's mother rushed to embrace her daughter, sobbing as she asked, "Jae-chin, where did you go without saying anything? Do you know how worried I was?" Hearing the reproach, Jae-chin quickly replied, "I'm sorry, Mom." While the atmosphere was somber, Jae-chin's younger sister's eyes suddenly lit up as she eagerly asked, "Great. You smell so good. Did you take a shower?" Jae-chin chuckled, nodding as she replied, "Yeah, there was even warm water so I could take a bath." Cha-hun smiled gently, listening to Jae-chin's family's conversation. Jae-chin's younger sister excitedly asked again, "Really?" Jae-chin nodded, confirming, "Of course. There's even a bed, and we can eat warm meals too." While they were chatting happily, Cha-hun approached and called out, "Miss Jae-chin." Hearing the call, Jae-chin quickly nodded, "Yes." Cha-hun hesitantly said that room 2701 had been assigned to Jae-chin, and she could use it freely, but it might be a little cramped for more than 30 people. As soon as she heard those words, Jae-chin cried out in surprise and alarm. When Jae-chin looked back, she saw many more people hesitantly standing behind her mother. Seeing that scene, Jae-chin wondered, "What should I do?" Seeing her distressed expression, Cha-hun unexpectedly offered, "I'll give you 3 more empty rooms, because you deserve it, Jae-chin." Surprised by the offer, Jae-chin exclaimed, "Huh, yes, thank you so much." Seeing her confusion, Cha-hun quickly explained, "You can use rooms 2402, 2301, and 1902 in the same building." Jae-chin quickly nodded her thanks repeatedly. "I'll do my best." At the same time, a message appeared on the system. The residents' trust in Cha-hun is rapidly increasing. Cha-hun stared blankly at the system screen. Suddenly, he saw something and shouted, "Wait a minute." Looking at the system screen, Cha-hun pondered silently. "Come to think of it, I only upgraded it without checking anything." Suddenly, the system displayed the information, "Summon Beast Management." As soon as he saw those words, Cha-hun's eyes widened in surprise. "Summon Beast Management." The system immediately displayed the price. Summoning a beast costs a whopping 1 billion won. Seeing the price, Cha-hun asked in alarm, "What? 10 billion? That's 1 billion won." While Cha-hun was still complaining about the price of the summoned beast, a voice suddenly called out, "Mr. Cha-hun, could you spare me a moment?" Cha-hun then invited the person in. "Please come in." The person hesitantly replied, "Thank you." As soon as they stepped inside, Cha-hun asked, "What brings you here, Hajin?" Hearing him call her name, Hajin hesitated, stammering, "I have something to tell you." Seeing her awkwardness, Cha-hun smiled gently and said, "Please, feel free to talk to me." Hearing those words, Hajin trembled even more. Well then, at the same time, Hajin didn't dare to look up, only bowing deeply and stammering, "I." Suddenly, Hajin bowed 90 degrees and said, "I'm really sorry, but I want to leave the group." As soon as he heard those words, Cha-hun's face went blank as he asked, "Huh? What did you just say?"